Chapter 38. Back in the sitting room of the hotel suite, Naruto is sitting next to Tsunade as she refills his cup. Sake cups and empty ramen bowls litter the table while a flushed Tsunade is laughing up a storm. Across from them, Team 7 almost can't believe that this is their Hokage, while Kakashi is nose deep in his book-off chair to the side. He knew better than to try and stop the Hokage now. Naruto himself was smiling wide as he took in the atmosphere. It had been a long time since he had been able to spend some real time with his team. Even with the new addition. Tsunade finished refilling his cup and relaxed back into the couch, one arm slung over the back. Boy, you wouldn't believe the shit I've been having to put up with. It's all so much, and these old geezers just keep making it worse. Whhhyyy, can't I just torch all the paperwork either? Naruto chuckles, taking a smaller sip and pointing with his cup towards her. Can't really relate. Sure, I have some paperwork now, but it's pretty minor, plus, clones. Ugh, maybe I should get on that. Naruto nods, I recommend it. Besides, I still say explosives solve all your problems. Don't tempt me. No, this is me tempting you. Be tempted. Blow them up. It'll be beautiful. Tsunade rolls her eyes and points dramatically at the boy. Just make sure to keep that energy long term. Have a healthy work-life balance. Don't get sucked into the chair and neglect your friends and family. It's a one-way ticket to misery for everyone involved. Naruto smiles softly at the thoughtful look that crosses her face. I'll keep that in mind. Next to him on his other side, Kotohime presses into him. Don't worry, Tsunade-sama. I'll make sure he gets his rest. Well, sort of. After plenty of time out of the chair, maybe. He'll have more than work to focus on at least. She had her own ideas about his still under construction office after all. Tsunade chuckles, oh ho, got those claws in him already do ya? More like he's been in M. Sakura slaps the table repeatedly, hey. He's like a brother to us, can we not talk about his sex life? Please, pretty please? Sasuke chuckles along with Tsunade before nodding to Naruto, since it sounds like you're going to be stuck at a desk, guess that'll give me time to train and catch up with you. I'll speed past you in no time. Naruto relaxed back, intentionally using Kotohime as a pillow for a moment as he offered a drink to her from his cup. She drank while he answered Sasuke, yeah, I still send like, thousands of clones out for training every day. I swear, Uzumaki blood is cheating. Sasuke wasn't pouting at being one-upped, not at all. Nor was he feeling better about Sakura patting his shoulder. Uzumakis were cheaters. From his chair, Kakashi looks up, watching as the long-haired beauty Kotohime pushes Naruto forward so she could refill his drink for him. I guess if anything, I should congratulate you, Naruto. Sure, you aren't Hokage, but you've become a village leader all the same. You must feel proud. Naruto nods, like you wouldn't believe. Sai finally speaks up, not having a chance to with the fast-paced conversation. I as well, congratulations Uzumaki-sama. Naruto waves a hand at the pale boy quickly, no, just Naruto. You're a member of Team 7, that means automatically we're close. Drop that formal bullshit. Tsunade leans over to poke him in the cheek, someone doesn't like the formalities. Buzz off, woman, before I toss you out a window. Like to see you try, brat. Already did it once. You cheated. One-on-one, let's go. I'll steal your jacket again, just you wait. You little pervert. Drunken hag. Sai leans over to Sakura, is this normal? Sakura nods, for them? Yeah, completely normal. Naruto's always been a little broken. I'd like to think I'm a well-adjusted ninja, thank you very much. Naruto spared a second to respond to Sakura's jab towards him. Sasuke shrugs and points at their porn-reading sensei, look who you're lumping yourself with. Well, wait no. Sakura nods again, holding up a hand and beginning to list people with her fingers, there's Guy, Kakashi, Jiraiya, Lady Tsunade, Ebisu, you. Naruto pointed at Sakura, wait, I'm not that bad. Look at me. I'm not a drunk or a porn addict or a gambler. And I don't have any weird fixations either. Explosions. Sakura and Sasuke had no problem answering him in unison. It was such an obvious thing, they almost couldn't believe the boy would try to sweep that under the rug. Well, okay, so one fixation. Kotohime leans forward again to drape her arms over his shoulders, Fox Denver. Naruto blushes now, well, okay so. Maybe I have a few fixations. Sakura raises an eyebrow, what's a fox den? Kotoheim smirks, oh, just a collection of really beautiful women who are devoted to Naruto. Here she leaned back opening her kimono a bit to expose a red fox head tattoo on the inside of her cleavage. That Sakura slapped Sasuke for staring was ignored. Naruto can be so attentive when he wants to be. Sakura sighed, there's an image that's going to be stuck in my head for a while. Sai almost couldn't help himself, so lost in the moment for once. Perhaps Sakura, you could learn some pointers from her. She seems much more alluring than you. Eyes wide, Sakura turns on the boy in an instant. What's that supposed to mean? Kotoheim laughs while Naruto shakes his head and looks at Sasuke. I almost feel sorry for you. You should, this is your fault. Sasuke was doing his best to stay out of striking range. That he was in the middle made that mostly impossible. My fault? My house got blown up. You could have taken us with you. I wouldn't mind seeing the world. Tsunade drops a foot on the table. Nope. No stealing my ninja. Go scalp someone else. Naruto shrugs, hey, I can't help it if everyone recognizes my awesome and wants to join me. Tsunade stabs a finger in his direction again, you start stealing my ninja, and I'll be there to hunt you down. I can have that beach house full of special spring country alcohol ready for you. Oh, you're such a good boy, why would anyone ever doubt you? The trio of original Team 7 genin all looked at Tsunade with disappointed faces, so easy. Tsunade waved them off, yeah, wait till you get my age kiddies. Now. Face still slightly flushed, the elder ninja paid full attention to Naruto, so what's the plan? Naruto shrugs, I'm going to have to bring Uzushio to the world stage soon, which means going public myself. Sighing, the older woman cautions the teen, if you want less issues going forward, you'll need a majority of the existing major villages to sponsor you. I'm a given, but... She trails off, knowing the rest of the world's history with Uzushio. Well, Gaara is on board, so that's 2 out of 5. And we've been brainstorming going and seeing Kiri. Out of the remaining nations, that would probably be the safest bet. Naruto was finally starting to feel the alcohol a bit, head a little hazy, but in a pleasant way. Well, can't say I haven't been curious about Kiri myself. I've almost wanted to send a team or two so we could have a look around. Tsunade at least knew their civil war was most likely over by now. But beyond that? Nothing. Was Kiri the same as old? Were they more peaceful? Were they more violent? No one knew. Plus, it's not like lightning or stone would be any help. Secretly, Tsunade would love to see Inoki get slapped around a bit. Kotoheim chimes in a bit, resting her head on Naruto's shoulder. I hear the new Mizukage is running an isolationist policy at the moment so they can rebuild their village. Sound familiar? Yeah, and it isn't like there's a very close neighbor that has a lot of experience with that who would be willing to help out. Naruto turns his head to kiss the smiling woman, keeping that ear to the ground, huh? It's important. Kotoheim preened at the attention. Tsunade nods along, it wouldn't be a bad idea, and you need whichever political assist you can get. Everyone's attention is drawn to the door as it opens quickly. From outside, Hinata, flanked by Yugo, and the Fuma girls walk in followed by Kurenai and Team 8. There's wide eyes from the new Leaf Neens, coming in while Tsunade and Naruto hold up their cups. Yo Kiba. Long time no see. Naruto had only moments before Hinata leapt over everyone else to land in his lap. Giggling, the girl hugged him tight around the middle. How's it Hanjin dude? Shino, Kurenai, good to see you too. Kiba holds out his hands with mock humility, oh you know, little to the left, bumps my knee when I run. He grunts as Kurenai cuffs him on the head. Ow. Shino sighs heavily, so vulgar. Naruto chuckles as his eyes roam over everyone, this is really starting to turn into a party. Kurenai turns to see Kakashi sitting by a small table in a chair, the Cyclops is here. Kakashi sighs, good to see you as well Kurenai. As the teams come together to chat and banter back and forth, Kurenai pauses as she catches sight of the drinking Tsunade as well. Tsunade-sama. I'm surprised to see you here as well. A note of genuine surprise on her face, Tsunade points at Naruto. It'd be a little odd for the head of the village to not meet up with a visiting leader, wouldn't it? Team 8 stands there and blinks slowly, while Team 7 sighs as they should have figured that part out by now. Kiba of course is the loudest, what do you mean leader? That explosion bastard is a leader? No way, no. Shino put a hand on Kiba's shoulder. You can at least say you lost to a Kage. Sakura leaned back to look at the pair. He did beat you like a drum. It wasn't that bad. Sasuke nods. It was that bad. Laughing and waving a hand to ward off the coming chaos, Naruto points at himself. I'm still just Naruto, explosion boy with a weird focus on seals. I just, have a city to worry about. He said city, right? Not village, but a full-on city? Kiba was leaning down to whisper to the members of Team 7. Yeah, I heard that. Sakura was looking pointedly at Naruto. We really need to have a visit soon. Naruto agrees as the door opens again, the rest of his girls returning along with Team 10 and their sensei along for the ride. Okay, maybe we really should get some food then. Beginning to make clones, they all leave via the balcony. He misses Ino already in the air as well, deciding Naruto's lap still had some space. Asuma walked beside Kurenai as things slowly got out of control. Should we be worried? Kurenai shrugged. Well, past that point I think. It was going to be a long night, and with no help from the cackling Tsunade, they'd have to be the adults tonight. Scene change. It's morning, the sun is just beginning to peek over the horizon, and while most people will still be asleep for another hour or so, Naruto was wide awake. Still so used to rising earlier than everyone else for either training or construction, this morning was no different. Making a clone in order to substitute with it, he reluctantly leaves the embrace of a mostly clothed Hinata and a completely naked Kotohime. Pulling on a shirt and shorts while admiring the view for a bit, he eventually turned to leave the room to go and inspect the rest of the suite. Plus, he felt a certain pervert's chakra near. Sure enough, sitting at the table together are Tsunade and Jiraiya. Man, this has got to be the earliest I've ever seen you awake, Bachan. Can it, brat? I'm always up this early. I just goof off, for Shizen's sake. Girl needs to relax some. I'm the Hokage, gotta show some good examples when I can. Focusing a bit more and pointing at the boy who takes the couch opposite of them, Tsunade sighs, I meant it last night. You need better work-life balance. Take it from a current Hokage who was the granddaughter of one. It's easy to fall completely into work all of the time. Take vacations, delegate work, fool around on the job. You're the boss anyway, though maybe don't give too much of your power away to a council of greedy fucks. Naruto chuckles but understands she is just trying to help him. I got it. Enjoy life and being a Kage. Family first, then work. Jiraiya is leering at the boy. Something tells me you're at the enjoying life stage pretty solidly right now. So many young girls, and just one Naruto. Naruto, however, wouldn't fall to the teasing, instead pointing at the old pervert himself. It's odd that you and Tsunade got here at the same time. There's nothing odd about old teammates being around each other. Plus he trained you for a while, didn't he? He'd want to see you. Tsunade was working to keep her blush down. She did not need Naruto latching onto the idea that she was involved with the pervert. Naruto tilts his head this way and that, crossing his arms slowly as if puzzling out a great enigma. No, something is definitely up here. Pervy Sage isn't being a pervert and you haven't threatened him even once. I can control my urges, And I don't need to threaten him if he isn't being a pervert. Something fishy indeed. Very fishy. All of them pause as they hear a door opening up down the hall. Naruto looks up and sighs as a half-asleep Hinata shuffles her way towards them. Eyes mostly closed, dressed in his jacket and a pair of blue panties, she climbs into his lap and easily falls back asleep in moments. Jiraiya is nearly vibrating in his seat but makes no moves while Tsunade is wiggling her eyebrows at the boy. What was that now about odd? Naruto shrugs, my sex life is healthy, thank you very much. One arm comes up to clutch the smaller girl to him a bit tighter. Truce? Tsunade nods, truce. They both are pointedly ignoring the pervert, almost crying tears of blood. Naruto shakes his head, on something important. We'll probably meet with the daimyo at least one more time, think you can sit in on that one? He might listen to you this time around. It wasn't every day that Tsunade had to give up teasing her favorite blonde, but she could for now. Shizen's already working on that. We figured the daimyo would get the picture after the first meeting. Harder Naruto. Quietly mumbling in her sleep, Hinata curls deeper into his chest, leaving the boy blushing. Jiraiya's grip on his legs has his knuckles turning white, while he still refuses to say a word. Though there is a whine escaping his throat that sounds like a kicked dog. Tsunade finally lets him go. Go ahead, right away. Oh, thank you, Haim. Book out, Jiraiya writes away while Naruto levels a bored look at the old woman. What was that about it not being weird? And pervert, I'm so telling Hinata, so you better protect your balls. I'll sacrifice anything for my art, you'll understand one day, brat. I understand just fine, it's just, my sex life here. Chuckling, Tsunade waves a hand, it's all about compromise, Naruto. Wait till you have kids, you'll get it. Naruto shakes his head, I just remembered, I have a new technique Jiraiya might like and you should see it too, Bachan. Oh, what are you calling it? It's called Heavenly Get Help and trust me, you'll just love it. Scene change, far away from the land of fire we find the newest Mizukage making preparations for a trip. Or is attempting to at least. Casually ordering the ever-faithful Chojuro around, it's her other bodyguard Ao who is attempting to make her see reason. Lady Mizukage, please. We still have so much work to do here. We have barely scratched the surface on our country's rebuilding efforts and missions are beginning to pile up. Our ninja forces also need attention since you'd like to restructure them away from our traditional methods. Ao and Mei had both gone through their bloody trails. Ao figured that it was a strong method, ensured the best of the best came through. Mei was of the mind that they would have more and plenty of quality ninja without it. Just look at Konoha after all, they didn't kill off half their graduates. Oh Chojuro, just you wait. If there really is a new village somewhere in Wave, we had best jump on the opportunity to make friends early. We have to change our image from the bloody mists to something much more personable after all. Mei was pointedly ignoring Ao. Still not happy about him commenting on her age recently. Old bastard must want his face melted off. If we show that we're willing to make amends for our previous leader's mistakes, show that we want to heal, then it'll only help us politically. Plus who knew, if this new village was short on ninja, maybe Mist could gain a willing ally? Ao sighs, Chojuro happily moving boxes and sorting through paperwork. The village we would need to make amends with would be Uzushio, not Wave. And Uzushio doesn't exist thanks to lightning, stone, and us. Mei waved him off, there's a better than zero chance that many of the Uzushio remnants escaped to Wave and most likely never left. It's the closest they would be able to return home after all. She and everyone else who knew about Uzushio knew about those pesky seal-driven whirlpools. By now, no one alive could deactivate them. No ships would be returning to Yuzu. Chojuro stands, slightly adjusting the sword on his back. What are you hoping to accomplish in Wave Mizukage-sama? It is here that Mei grins, relaxing back into her seat while a hand comes up to rest on her cheek. There's word that there is a very reclusive man running this village. Whispers of a shadow of shadows. Shadow Kage. I'm very interested to meet them. How pretentious. Ao does not mince words. Mei points a well-manicured finger at the older man, I think it's rather dashing. Imagine, what kind of skill must it take to not only build a full village in secret, but to hide such a powerful individual? I think, a shadow of shadows could be fitting under such conditions. And that apparently the Maelstrom himself worked for this secret Kage? Curious indeed. Chojuro sighs as he looks around the room, now adjusting his glasses, well. I don't want to agree with Ao, but we do have a lot of work here to get done before we can think on leaving for any real reasons. Maybe in a month or two. Coming from the youngest swordsman did make Mei pause and really think it over. He was right, she knew that, but she wanted to get ahead of this before the other villages got it in their heads to stomp this new village back down like they would so many others. I suppose you're right. There's nothing wrong with waiting sometimes. Some of the best relationships are forged after a bit of aging after all. Just look at her. She was just coming into her prime after all. Ao breathes a sigh of relief as Mei finally sees some reason. For now waiting is okay, good. That snapped Mei out of her daydream of a younger man whisking her away after comparing her to fine wine. What did he mean for now? Was waiting only okay because she wasn't 30 yet? Was he knocking on her age again? He really was looking to get burnt. Ao, I swear, one day. I'll melt your face off. Ao exchanged a fearful look with Chojuro, who smiled weakly. Just what did he do now? Scene change, Naruto could admit, if there was one thing he could say positively about Konoha, was that the harmony with nature was really tiers above everyone else. On each side of him were Hinata and Karen. Many of the others were relaxing and resting off from the party last night back in the room. Still on orders, not to go out alone. He however was full of energy, and had at least one stop he wanted to make today. waving at some civilians that recognized him and bowed deeply. His smile was small but genuine. I can admit, Uzushio is home now, but Konoha still has a special place in my heart. Naruto wouldn't be coming back to live here, but he could visit more often as long as people important to him lived here. Hinata nodded from next to him. I can agree with that. Though I wish I didn't have to put up with my family, well, the main branch at least. The branch family were a pleasant group, having been kind to her for many years even after her uncle was killed in her father's place. Opposite of her, Karen is leaning into Naruto's side, just happy to be along and enjoying some alone time with him. They soon come along to Naruto's stop, Ichiraku Ramen. Brushing the door covers aside, Naruto calls out with a happy voice, "Hey old man. Hope you're ready to empty your reserves for me." Tucci looked up to see his favorite blonde at the door. A little taller and with some extra muscle on him, the elder grinned brightly, "Naruto my boy. Good to see you back. What'll it be?" From the back I am leaned out, smiling brightly as well, "Naruto. It's great to see you." Naruto settles the girls into their seats first, before taking his own. "It's great to see you too big sis. Anything crazy going on while I was gone?" I am bounced forward as her father took Hinata's order. "Oh you wouldn't believe. First, your old sensei Iruka, remember him yeah?" Naruto shakes his head, "Can't really forget him, what's up?" "Apparently he's dating Anko now." "Wait, crazy snake lady with a blood fetish? That Anko?" I am smirks and nods quickly, eyes shining bright. She had missed her little gossip brother, and apparently it's very serious. Whoa, I'm gonna have to find a way to visit him and give him to good ribbing. But Naruto smiles softly and leans back a bit. "I'm happy for them, if they found what they needed." I am flushes at the more mature-looking young man. "I see you've done some growing up while away." "Not too much I hope." Naruto chuckles as Karen gives her own order. "Well, I've been pretty busy I guess." I am looks between the three, smirking at the closeness between him and Hinata, while Karen seemed to be shooting him glances as well. My, you have been busy haven't you?" "No teasing. But I have so much to make up for." Laughing loudly, Tucci started placing bowls in front of the teens. "You being back, does that mean you'll be around more?" Naruto shook his head. "You got my letters right?" Seeing both of the Ikarakus nod, Naruto went on. "We have a new home now. Offer's still open though, we'll have a spot just for you in Uzushio, all you have to do is say the word." Tucci sighed, not slowing down on his work but shaking his head all the same. "Sorry my boy, but you know me. I'm a Konoha man through and through. I hate what the council did to you, but this is my home." Naruto waved a hand. I know, but I gotta ask. I love you guys, your family. But I won't pressure you." He wanted to. Really wanted to, but he wouldn't. He had respect for the pair who had helped him so much through his childhood. Tucci however motions to Ayam, who is setting about helping with a new batch of noodles. "This one however is free, why don't you convince her to go? She's at that age where she should be getting out and seeing the world anyway." Dad, are you serious? I couldn't leave you here, no way. Can't do it." More worrying in her mind was less leaving her father, and more than she wasn't ready. She couldn't run a restaurant on her own, big or small. No way. Not yet. Knowing what his daughter was really concerned about, Tucci ignored her cries against it. "My daughter, you have learned as much as you can from me. But now you should take advantage of your youth. Travel, see the sights, experience new things. Imagine the seafood from Uzushio you could experience. The land of rice beef? I wonder what the sake from spring would be like reduced into a sauce. You could go do all of those things, and more. Don't be stuck in one place just because of your old man." I am as flushing but seeing the smiling faces of Naruto and his girls along with her father's, I'll consider it. Maybe. No maybe. We'll consider it. Will. I am sighs and nods. I will consider it, honest. Naruto leans back, having had time to finish off 5 bowls while the father and daughter talked. "If you do want to travel, I can make sure you have a bodyguard at all times. Perks of being the leader after all." "Oh hush, I don't need pampering." Hinata shakes her head. "Everyone needs pampering." I am flushes again as the smaller girl gives a very pointed look at Naruto. "I'm sure we aren't talking about the same type of pampering." Before Naruto or Hinata can fire back, there's a poof of smoke and a toad is sitting on the bar. "Yo." Naruto sighs. "Guess free time is over?" Yup, Jiraiya wanted to warn you that daimyo is on his way to your suite. Naruto nods, downing his last bowl, while Hinata does the same. Guess we're gonna have to cut this visit off short, old man. Tucci nods and accepts a fistful of Ryo. Don't worry about it, Naruto. Just take care of yourself, and come say goodbye before you leave, alright? Will do, old man. Waiting for Karen to finish her own food, the trio says their goodbyes, before rushing out of the door. Ayam continues to stare at the door, unsure if she will in fact follow through with leaving. Dad? Tucci shakes his head, spend some time really thinking about it. I have my hopes for you, sure, but your future is yours. You have to think about what you want to do. Ayam nods slowly, heading to the back room again. Traveling didn't sound so bad actually. A world ramen tour actually sounded pretty fun. 30 minutes later on the other end of town, Naruto has settled in for a new round of talks with the daimyo. Kotohime on one side and Tayuya on the other in the hopes that they would actually offer advice this time. Naruto stares down a nervous daimyo while he himself is flanked by Tsunade and Shikaku. Actually listening to his advisors this time, he went with the more recommended options. Things were going okay so far, and the daimyo was much more hopeful about today. Naruto is leaning back, a groan leaving him. We don't really need any assistance at this point from Konoha. What I do want to find out is how you plan on paying back your calculated 70 million that you owe us. Shikaku, however, pulls around a folder full of paperwork. We've had some ideas. The biggest one we believe would work best for both parties would be a bit of a trade. He places the folder down to open it and turn it to face Naruto and the girls. Konoha can send missions exclusively to the Uzumaki clan along with making payments towards you. So you'll be able to build up a name for yourselves, and Konoha pays off her debt to you. Kotohime leans forward to look through the paperwork while Naruto puts his hands on his knees. So we get to work for the money we are owed while Konoha pays off a lesser amount? Well, I certainly like the idea of Konoha paying us at least. Tell me, I know the civilians weren't the only ones to profit from the Uzumaki, so which of the ninja clans are you protecting? 'Cause you could be taxing them to make up the difference, couldn't you? Tsunade jumps in, always happy to screw over someone she hated. Well, that would mainly be the Hyuga clan. Their caged bird seal is a derivative of a much more humane Uzumaki seal. Records would be hard to come by. Naruto has to bite back a growl that threatens to escape his throat. Oh, so Hayashi just sat here yesterday and pretended like the Hyuga owed the Uzumaki nothing then? That's just wonderful. Mentally, Naruto just greenlit Hinata's desire. Hayashi seemed to think the Hyuga would have been doing the Uzumaki a favor, while it seems that was actually the other way around. Tsunade eventually leans back with a smirk, a job well done. Unfortunately by now, the Hyuga seal is very much their own. I only bring it up because there's a very large chance the clan has Uzumaki scrolls in its possession. They would need reference material after all. Tayuya is frowning with her arms crossed. With that prick, I'm sure they have a lot of our clan scrolls rolling around. Naruto agrees, but I have a feeling that without some proof, there isn't much we can do, Seeing Tsunade nod did nothing to sour his mood. He'd get the Hyuga back, absolutely he would. You're really going to do that, You're becoming more of that pervert sage every day. Are you complaining? Not at all, please, continue. Thought so. Feeling the Biju go back to sleep, Naruto mentally shook his head at the lazy construct. Shikaku however has leaned back as well, cautioning Naruto, unless Hayashi slips up, you most likely won't find what you're looking for there. Hayashi has been at this a long time, he does know better. I don't expect him to slip up either, but it doesn't matter. Unless Hayashi tries something, I'm willing to leave it alone, for Hinata's sake if for nothing else. There's a pause as Naruto collects his thoughts for a bit. I'm thinking from here on we can do the usual thing, right? We can set up ambassador visits periodically, like, once a month. One of us with guards will come and visit Konoha in attempts to strengthen ties. I expect them to always be under guard and there to be no arguments about them being armed. Tsunade nods, that's pretty standard procedure, so I'm fine with that. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Shikaku nodding as well. Clapping his hands as apparently they had made some progress, the daimyo is all smiles. It'll be wonderful to have some steady communication again. I truly wish we can reforge these bonds that have been strained. Naruto nods, standing and forcing the older group to do the same. Yeah, well, I shouldn't have to say don't try anything, but I'm saying it anyway. Naruto's eyes flash once. Anything happens to one of our own and I'll be back, so many of me will be back. The daimyo is sweating as he looks to Tsunade and Shikaku. I'm sure our vaulted Hokage will take every precaution to make sure nothing transpires during your visits. The groups bow to each other, and then the elders are gone, leaving under escort from Yugo, while Naruto relaxes back into the couch. What a pain in the ass. Kotoheim puts the folder she was reading down, turning to him slightly. The offer still stands. How does a massage sound? She squeaks as Naruto snakes a hand around her waist and pulls her into his side. My lord? Naruto does the same to Tayuya, pulling her into his side and relaxing fully. I'd actually like to rest, just like this, for a little while. That okay? Tayuya is already cuddling into his shoulder. No arguments here, Whiskers. Kotoheim only nods, relaxing much as he was and brushing her lips against his ear. I still think you deserve a more fitting reward for putting up with all of this. Naruto chuckles as he begins to zone out. When we get back to Yuzu, you can have me all you want. We won't get back to work for a few days after all. Lovely. They would be leaving in the morning. Now that plans were set, they didn't want to spend any more time in Konoha than they needed. But they could rest up until then. There was always so much to do after all. Naruto could say for certain that it wasn't often that he had a lot of time for himself these days. Lights dimmed in the Uzumaki home bath, skylights open to allow the breeze in and a more clear view of the night sky. The teen was fully relaxed in the heated waters. It wasn't spring, but it was close. He would never complain about the girls wanting to be around him all the time, but some quiet time was nice. Well, between your training, running this city, and all of your missions, you do need to rest some. You're going to put yourself in an early grave at this rate. I feel fine though, Kurama. I should take advantage of being able to do this while I can. Don't say I didn't warn you. You're just lazy. Who's sealed and who again? Naruto grumbles, that's why I'd figure you'd be all for me being up and active all the time. It would be different if you were doing something fun. Training is fun. Mating is much more fun. Flushing a bit, the teen waves Kurama off. You're just a big pervert. A booming laugh answers him. You're becoming something of a pervert yourself. I've seen what you've been doing with Karen recently. Oh, and can't forget Tayuya and Ino. So naughty. Blush in full force now. Naruto can't really fight against that. Yeah well, shut it. Also, your personal radar still needs work. Huh? Naruto nearly misses the other body sliding into the water next to him. Considering how late it is and how he knew everyone else was asleep, he was a little confused on who this could be. Above them, the moon is uncovered from the clouds and shines down to reveal Koyuki in all her naked glory. Hey Koyuki, when'd you get in? Koyuki smiles confidently. Not too long ago. Taking the train was an experience. I was trying to surprise you. Turning and leaning over a bit, putting herself slightly on display, she grins. What say you, surprised? Chuckling, Naruto nods, very. I've missed you, we all have. Koyuki nods at a job well done. I've missed you as well. I didn't mean to get here so late. I wanted to spend more of the day with you. They settle into a comfortable silence as Koyuki leans into his shoulder and just enjoys the skinship for a while. Naruto isn't going to complain, of course. I'll have to go back in the morning, however, work never stops. Naruto holds up a finger. I'll flash you back. No point in taking the train and it'll give us a little more time together. I'd appreciate that. Turning towards him, she plants a soft kiss on his cheek. That leads to a real kiss between lips that turned into a make-out session that leaves both of the teens breathless for a bit. Koyuki has no qualms about shuffling over and planting herself into his lap. Making sure he can see all of her, Koyuki again smirks. I'd appreciate some real attention as well. Let's break in the bath. I'm sure you haven't yet. You're right, but this probably isn't the best night for it. Naruto was already twitching and at attention under her heat practically radiating through him. The girls have been on one today, working me up. I haven't had a chance to calm down much. Koyuki leans in closer to him, chest rubbing against his own, as their hips melded together with a sigh. Is my poor little Naruto all backed up? Here she giggled. Well, not so little, no not at all. Naruto snaked his hands around her waist. Yes, and unless you're looking for a mini-me, teasing me yourself isn't a good idea. Koyuki's smirk never leaves her face as she fully connects herself with him. Don't you worry. I know what I want. Here she leans in, voice husky in his ear. You know what you want, don't you? Lord Naruto? Right this second, you. Show me. Leave no doubt. Heh, I won't. Hand snaking up to cup her chest, he gave up trying to talk her out of things. Quiet time was nice, sure. But time with his girls would always be the best. Always. Chapter 39. Night had descended on the village hidden in the leaves, and in one well-furnished hotel room a group of ninja were plotting and planning. Naruto was ready to bite back a bit, having had enough of Hayashi and the Hyuga main branch. He'd figure something out for Danzo later, but Hayashi would get his. Standing before everyone, he was grinning as he dealt out tasks. Karen, Ino. Seeing both girls look at him with attention, he smiled softly. Sorry, but you're gonna have to hang out here with Yugo and the others. We need someone here in case someone comes by. Ino saluted with a wink. No worries, Whiskers, we got things here then. Yugo nodded as well. No harm will come to Lady Ino or Lady Karen. Naruto rolled his eyes but continued on. This is a complete covert hit. Hayashi is fully on my shit list, so we're getting even. The Hyuga stole from the Uzumaki and pretended they were doing us a favor. So, we're going steal a little back plus some interest. Hinata was smiling as she sat between Kotohime and Tayuya. So what's the plan? Naruto points at the girls on either side of her. Kotohime and Tayuya are going to team up for a multi-layered genjutsu. Think you can cast it over an entire clan compound? Kotohime smirks. Oh, I thought you were giving us a challenge. Tayuya already has her flute out and is twirling it between her fingers. Not much travels faster or further than sound after all. Good. Naruto grins but continues. We'll need the genjutsu to alter people's perception while Hinata and I raid the place. We have in total 3 goals. Here Naruto held up his fingers to count them off. First, we raid the Hyuga library for Uzumaki scrolls. Next, we find a few branch members willing to listen to us and give them a choice. Leave and be normal citizens in Uzushio, or stay and continue to be slaves. Third and finally, me and Hinata desecrate Hayashi's desk and office. Hinata is already giggling and clapping her hands. You're taking my suggestion seriously. Tayuya smirks. I'm sure we'll be getting a reward for this later, yeah? Of course. Kotohime picks up after Tayuya pumps a fist in the air. Then we will make sure you and Hinata have all the time you need. Personally, Kotohime didn't mind Hinata having some time for herself. She and Ino hadn't really taken much advantage of Naruto recently while everyone else had. She should probably pull them aside and make sure things were okay. Naruto is still grinning. This goes off without a hitch, then I hope we'll be having some new Uzushio members at the end of the week. If that happens, then no work or missions for us for a few weeks. We'll relax before we get back to the grind. Ino raised a hand. Does that mean full-time pampering and a mini vacation? Yes. Ino cheered and high-fived Tayuya while Karen sighed and shook her head. Yugo stands to bow lightly to Naruto. Shall we pack up and make sure we can leave in a moment? Seeing Naruto nod, Jude grins. Then we shall make preparations and be ready for anything. I believe in you. The first sign of trouble though, and you all flash out of here, no questions asked. We'll either catch up or you'll be hearing from Bachan eventually. Got it? Karen pointed a finger at him. You aren't allowed to get captured, you understand? Things happen. Karen shook her head. Nope, no getting captured. That's my requirement. Naruto sighed as he could see the same determined look on everyone's faces. Seeing there was no winning there, Naruto eventually nodded. Got it, no getting captured. Then get out there and finish this up. I'm not sleeping until you get back and we cuddle. Hinata, Kotohime, and Tayuya are already up and dragging him towards the balcony. You heard her, let's get a move on. Tayuya was much of the same mind. Let's get this over with and get back as soon as we can. Naruto saluted everyone staying behind, then we'll be back before you know it. With a wink, the foursome was gone and hopping away into the night. They wanted this over and done with as fast as possible. That said, Hinata was still all smiles as they made a straight path for the Hyuga compound. We're really going to do it. Really, really? Naruto answered her with chuckles. You promise? Naruto is next to her, artfully flipping through the air. We're already heading that way, aren't we? We're going to free the branch family. I never thought I'd have the chance to do this. Secretly, even before the Chunin exams, it was a quiet dream of hers. She was beyond happy that Naruto was helping make it happen. Naruto raised his eyebrows, obviously missing the mark on why she was so excited. Though honestly this made much more sense. All her changes aside, Hinata was still a kind and gentle soul. She had wanted to change her family more than anyone else. Now they were going to do just that, offering to whisk away the branch family to make new lives for themselves. Naruto smiled and nodded, well here we are, and we aren't going to let it go to waste. Hinata nodded, a hard looking coming to her eyes, we'll have to approach through the branch compound first, the patrols are a little more Spartan that direction. Well, we can take care of the branch family first then, have an idea of where to start? Hinata turns to him with a smile, the wind ruffling her hair and her clothes, a pretty good one actually. It's not long before Hinata activates her Byakugan, forcing them to wait not far from the compound for a few minutes. The patrols are light but regular. We just have to stay out of range and we should be okay. Everyone else nodded, and after the shorter girl's signal they made their way over the wall and onto the Hyuga clan grounds. Hinata leads the way across quiet well-cared-for lawns and landscaping, occasionally stopping them to miss a patrol or a random member of the clan. It isn't long until she leads them to a quiet single-story home that has one light on. We want to get to the entire branch family, this is the best-case scenario. Naruto walks forward with a smile, we trust you Hinata, so who is it? Hinata knocks on the door calmly, someone you know. Turning to address the person opening the door slowly, Naruto's eyes widen as Miji is standing there in front of them. Good evening cousin. Hinata-sama. Miji looks them all over before he ushers them inside, I'm watched pretty regularly, you don't have much time with me. Everyone is quick to enter the smallish home, while Miji closes the door behind them. Naruto is turning to Hinata, this is your in with the branch family? Hinata nods, I've been hearing rumors that Miji has been working towards bettering himself. That's included speaking up on behalf of the branch family as well. I figured if you wanted to get information to the rest of the branch, then your best bet is to go through him. Naruto turns to look at the teen he had formerly kicked the shit out of. He looked healthy at least, though with his headband off his seal was on display. An ugly thing that ran across his forehead in green sealing ink. Miji however turns to them after leading them into a small sitting room. So, what do I owe the Uzumaki clan head for this visit? Not here to knock me around again are you? Naruto tilts his head, are you? Was that a joke? Hyugas can joke around? Was the sky falling? It felt like the sky was falling. Miji chuckles quietly, you'll find, the branch family is much more open and liberal than the main house. Miji goes quiet, a contemplative look on his face, thanks to you, I've had a new outlook on life. I've been, slowly, working to change things. No real luck yet, but I won't give up. You taught me that. Grinning and holding out a thumbs up, Naruto congratulates the boy, good for you Miji. Here Naruto gained a slightly more sinister look, though, I'm sure you've forgotten to do something much more important, haven't you? Holding up a hand to expose his glowing explosion seals, he wouldn't mind a repeat of the Chunin exams. Miji gives him a look of confusion that is mirrored by everyone else except for Hinata, is this really the time? She appreciated the thought, but they were short on time as it was. Naruto nodded, someone I love was slighted, I won't stand for it. Miji finally got it, the look of realization crossing his face before he smirked. Turning and making eye contact with a blushing Hinata, Miji bowed deeply at the waist, not just for nearly killing you, for slighting your honor and your resolve, I sincerely apologize. I have endeavored to improve since then, but if you ask, I'll carry out whatever you wish. Hinata waved her hands quickly, it's okay. I healed just fine, and I've grown since then. Raise your head cousin. Hinata leaned over to smack a chuckling Naruto in the arm, we don't have the time. Naruto shrugged, you know how I work. He did however turn to the standing Miji, she's right that we are on a time crunch here. So I'm going to get straight to it. Naruto sighs, breathing deeply before locking eyes with the older teen, I'm rebuilding my village. The Hyuga clan is one of many Konoha clans that stole from my family. I'm going to raid their library to check for our belongings, but I've had another thought as well. Here Naruto unseals a scroll, holding it out to Miji. You, the entire branch family. You're being invited to Uzushio. I can offer protection and a new life for anyone and everyone who wants to escape from this life of slavery. I'm also offering to remove the cage seal from everyone who comes with me. Remove the seal? Miji's eyes widen quickly, you can do that? Absolutely. Have some faith in me. Miji stares at them, taking in Hinata's reassuring smile and Naruto's own more cocky grin. The other two he didn't know, but they seemed more than comfortable with Naruto and his claims. What would you need of me? Miji could read the writing on the wall well enough. Konoha had done Naruto real harm and they were only putting forth a token effort of making it right. Plus Miji had his own sins to make up for. Naruto motions for Neji to take the scroll and he does so. Talk to everyone you can, pass along the message. In 7 days I want you to get everyone to the Uzumaki shrine outside of Konoha. But it's sealed off. Neji had heard about that fiasco. Hayashi had been very upset when they realized the barrier had been improved. Naruto shrugged, don't worry, anyone with the cage seal will be able to enter the shrine over the next week. In 7 days, the shrine will be gone, and everyone within will be transported to Uzushio. Can I count on you? Neji didn't hesitate, bowing deeply again, absolutely, I won't fail you. Naruto shook his head as Hinata activated her dojutsu again to check their surroundings, don't fail yourself. I'm offering you a chance, it's up to you and the branch family to take it. Hinata nods, we're clear, but we need to move. Neji holds a hand out, take the north entrance, security there has been lightened recently. Nodding, the group leaves through his front door and dashes away, leaving the confused teen alone. Well, it wasn't too late in the night, perhaps he could start talking to some of his closer family members first. 7 days wasn't a lot of time after all, to coordinate an evacuation. Bounding away and skirting patrols, Naruto and the others follow Neji's suggestion and enter the main house grounds from the north. Hinata confirms that security is lighter, before she drops them all in an empty but well-kept garden. Smiling, Hinata turns to everyone, it's a rule that no Hyuga uses their Byakugan within the main house. Privacy and all. Plus, special places like the council chambers, bedrooms, and private offices are lined with seals to prevent spying. Naruto nods, makes our job a little easier then. Kodoheim, Tayuya, you got this? Kodoheim is unsealing her kodo, while Tayuya already has her flute ready, we got this Whiskers, go have fun. Remember, anything happens, and you leave, don't look back and don't wait, you know we'll be okay. Kodoheim just smiles serenely, we understand, so go. The less time we spend here, the better. Naruto looks to Hinata, who motions towards a hallway, and they begin to walk. Behind them a soothing melody begins to quietly play, traveling easily through the area. Should we be worried? Hinata shook her head, by the time anyone thinks to worry, they'll be under the genjutsu. This wouldn't be the first time that music has been played in the compound. Leading Naruto on, they make good time through sterile hallways of beige and white for their first stop. I've never been in here, it's all so clean. Hinata frowns slightly, to be a Hyuga is to be perfection. At least that's what my father would say. You can only imagine how failure, or even the perception of it is handled. Any chance we can booby trap his room? I wish, but no. That's where he'll be at this time of night. Guess we'll really have to do our best in his office then. Naruto gives her the side eye as they walk into a quiet but empty library room, just try not to scream too loudly. No promises, so you better put up a good silencing seal. Yes ma'am. Grinning Naruto makes a dozen clones and watches them rush off, mentally already knowing their orders. So, which way to his office? Not far. Hinata takes him by the hand, leading him back into the hallway and deeper into the building. More sterile hallways and one dozing guard slumped against the wall, and they make it to the large and sparsely decorated office. Naruto follows Hinata inside, taking his hand back as he unseals a brush and inks a quick but sturdy silencing seal on the door. Setting it and filling it with chakra, he figured that gave them at least 30 minutes. Making several clones again, they set about searching through the line of bookshelves and walls for hidden compartments and books or scrolls that might be theirs. In front of him, however, was an impishly smiling Hinata who had already shucked her shirt and was already pulling her pants down her hips. Oh Lord Uzumaki, Naruto shook his head as he walked towards her, not going to waste any time huh? Hinata shook her head as she bent over the desk and looked at him over her smooth shoulder, guess I won't either. Naruto looked at his clearly jealous clones. Finish up and then come help me. That got them moving. Hinata flushed almost instantly, help? Oh, I told you didn't I? Here he leaned into her ear, a grin stretching over his face, we're making this one to remember. A hand trailed down her bare back where she shivered. So try not to scream. Naruto-sama, scene change, mid-morning in Konoha, shows a bright and cheerful day. Looking to be another peaceful one, Konoha and her people set about making the most of it. Assembled at the main gate are Naruto and his group, being seen off by Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune. Naruto and the girls are saying their goodbyes, Ino exchanging notes with Shizune while a bubbly Hinata refuses to stop clinging to Naruto's left arm. He's ignoring her for the most part until Tsunade gives the boy a disgruntled look. seeming to be nursing a major headache. You alright there, Bachan? Drink a little too much last night? A vein in her forehead pulses visibly, as much as I'd love for that to be it. You wouldn't happen to know anything about Hayashi burning down his desk and requesting a cleanup crew mission for his office bright and early this morning, would you? Naruto shrugs, it's not like Hayashi and I are friends, how would I know what a Hyuga thinks anyway? Tsunade gives Hinata a pointed look, the younger woman doing her best to meld into his side. She's an Uzumaki, we're pretty easy to figure out. Right, can't forget she's an Uzumaki now. Here she shakes her head and pulls him and an oblivious Hinata into a tight hug. You're playing with fire here, be careful. She pulled back and smiled at the boy, who grins at her in return. It's not my fire. They built it, I'm just mucking about the coals a bit. Naruto looks between her and Jiraiya as Ino rejoins the group with a wave to Shizune, we'll be in touch. Jiraiya pipes up, you better be. We have a tour to go on after all. Sure, world tour here we come. Saying their final goodbyes, all of the Uzumaki clan and their retainers activate their emergency seals and are gone in a flash. Not a moment too soon, as well as a furious-looking Hayashi is seen walking down the road with carefully neutral-looking branch member guards show up. Where is that foul boy? I will have words with him. Jiraiya points down the road, you just missed him. Recall him, I want to press charges. Tsunade raises her eyebrows as she turns to fully face the council member. Hyuga or not, making demands of her was not a smart thing to do anymore. And what charges are those, Hayashi? Vandalism for starts. Breaking and entering, theft. Tsunade nods with each of his points before holding up a finger, and you're willing to put, on paper, what was vandalized, how it was done, and what was stolen. Tsunade knew he wouldn't put it to parchment. Too much pride in this man. She knew he knew that as well, especially with how red he was becoming. After a little effort however and more silence, Hayashi calms himself down to something much more reasonable. When next the Uzumaki clan return, I wish to lodge a formal complaint with him and his clan. Tsunade waved him off, knock yourself out, just be prepared for whatever repercussions come from that. Tsunade grins as Hayashi does a crisp 180 and returns back the way he came. She does however note that the guards with him seem to be having a really hard time holding back their laughter. She couldn't imagine why. Jiraiya however was all grins, word on the street is Naruto, and Hinata really went to town on his desk. What did they do, painted orange and blue? Bright pink? Jiraiya shook his head and wiggled his eyebrows, let's just say it was a performance worthy of one of my books. Tsunade sighed and rolled her eyes hard as the connection wasn't hard to make. Stupid horny teenagers, he's taking more after you every day. He's my best student hands down. And the world weeps. A country away and giving in to uproarious laughter, the Uzumaki clan is back home and celebrating a job well done. Naruto stands in the living room while creating clones, unsealing scrolls full of Uzumaki scrolls and books and handing them over, make sure those get to the library. On it, boss. The half-dozen strong group disappears down the hallway and most likely wouldn't be seen for the rest of the day. Hinata, tired, sore, satisfied, is shuffling her way towards the baths, sleepy. Ino comes up and exchanges a kiss with Naruto before joining Hinata, a bath sounds really good. Behind her, Kotoheim winks at Naruto and leaves with the other girls to the bath. Some relaxation sounded perfect right about now. Yugo however looks a bit nervous as he and the Fuma girls walk up to Naruto. Bowing his head lightly, Yugo voices his question, I know our current mandate is to relax after a mission, however, we would like to run a mission or two if we can. Naruto raises an eyebrow, we just got back, y'all don't want to relax and rest for a bit? We essentially were at rest for the entire time in Konoha as it was. We can keep to missions within Uzushio if you like. Naruto shakes his head, knowing they were slowly beginning to receive more and more requests, no it's alright. It's fine. Just make sure not to run yourselves ragged, alright? Naruto turned his eyes to Kin and Sasami, are you both going to give up and just become Yuzunin? You take enough missions with us as it is. Kin shrugged, I wouldn't mind it, we pretty much are Yuzunin. Next to her, Sasami nods with a hand on her hip. Naruto grins, we'll have to start issuing out headbands soon, but alright, you lot get going. Just take it easy, alright? Of course, Lord Naruto. Yugo was grinning. Just Naruto Yugo. Yugo smirks, of course, Lord Naruto. Naruto watches him and the Fuma girls turn and walk towards the elevators, cheeky bastard. Thinking about it, he makes another clone quickly, do me the solid and track down Tsunami. Let her know we've returned. On it. Flashing away, the clone was gone in a breath, giving room for Karen to sneak up on Naruto and hug him tightly for a moment. What's up, Karen? Shaking her head, she leans up and kisses him softly before pulling away. I have work to get back to. I'm just about done setting up one of my prototype medical tubes in my lab, and I'm sure Isaribi would like to hear that. You're not overworking yourself, are you? You need to make sure to take breaks and eat. Karen winks at him as she backs away. Guess you'll just have to come down and make sure I'm being good, won't you? Giggling, the shorter redhead bounded away towards a special elevator that went directly to the basement. That left Naruto alone with a smirking Tayuya, who immediately tackled him onto the couch. Exchanging passionate kisses and touches, they eventually settled down with Naruto laying on his back and Tayuya snuggling into his chest. Naruto idly rubbed the redhead's back in slow circles while said girl nearly purred. So rare that she got to fully relax with him. You said we were taking a break, right? Yup. Relax for a week or two before we get back into it for real. I'd like to just focus on things here in Yuzu for a bit. Tayuya nodded. Think we can have a date night or two? Naruto's chuckle rumbled through his chest and set the girl at ease. You know you don't have to ask, I'll always make sure to set aside some time for all of you. Here he hugged the blushing girl tightly. I'll make sure to pamper and treat you like a princess just as you like. Tayuya flushed even more and buried herself into his chest. Asshole, only when we're alone, okay? I have an image to uphold. Sure. But we should get up, check on things around the village. Wanna come with? Tayuya sat up slowly, groaning but nodding. Might as well. Here she ground her hips into him for a second. Unless I can convince you to give me a showing of whatever it was you did to Hinata. Naruto had her by her waist and was picking her up as he stood. I hope you're ready for what you're asking for, but sure, tonight. Tayuya had to fight to control her blush as he set her down and they started walking. Wanna give me a hint as to what you did? Should I be worried? He had resorted to carrying the shorter girl when they left the Hyuga district last night, and she hadn't been steady on her legs for the rest of the night either. It was curious. Naruto was good, but that good? Naruto and Tayuya make it to the elevator and make their way down towards the ninja levels of the tower. Just imagine what me and a bunch of clones can do. Here Naruto turned to leer at her. So many of me. Tayuya shivered. No wonder Hinata was so worn out. Don't worry, I'll wear you out too. Tayuya leaned into him, pressing her chest against his. That a promise? Kissing her lightly, Naruto stares into her eyes deeply. Absolutely. Hearing the elevator ding, they separate before the doors open and walk out into the 4th floor, designated as one of 2 ninja levels. As they step out, there's a call and everyone on the floor either calls out or salutes to Naruto, who waves them off. I'm just checking in, but we're back in Yuzu, so I better not catch you slacking. There were chuckles and some comments, but everyone went back to work. Naruto and Tayuya walk up to the reception desk, leaning against it as a stern-faced woman with long dark green hair and green eyes comes up to them. Hey Kion, anything crazy while we were gone? Mihoshi break anything? Kion sighs, thankfully no. Knocking on the table, the tired woman watched her friend and fellow receptionist file away several scrolls. The city has been quiet. Tazuna did want your attention about the ninja fortress however. Naruto nods, figured he'd start itching to get to work on that. I'll go find him later. How's the Chinoite clan doing? Kion seems to think on that for a moment before snapping her fingers. As far as I've seen and heard they've been nothing but perfect, completing missions quickly and efficiently as well as helping out around the city whenever they can. Naruto grins as he watches Tayuya chat away with the bubbly tanned and blonde receptionist Mihoshi. I'll have to visit their clan home and check up on them then. Looking over Kion's shoulder, Naruto watches as a guard team from the Chinoite clan alight on the balcony and make their way inside. Speak of the devil. Good afternoon, Lord Uzumaki. The leader has a hand raised as they walk towards the desk to hand in a report scroll. Naruto waves back to them as he and Tayuya start for the balcony themselves, saying goodbye to the office workers. Do me a favor, let En and Gosu know I'll be by tomorrow. Need to have a word with them. Yes sir. Naruto and Tayuya were soon out and leaping away from the tower from the balcony. Tayuya has one stop on her mind for sure. Naruto frowns a bit as memories from his clone hit from Tsunami and Tayuya notices. What's up? Tsunami says we have a visitor who's curious about things. Says I should probably pay her a visit. Sounds fun, should we go now? Nah, let's check in on Isaribi. We can do that tomorrow. Tayuya leads the way as they hopped over commercial rooftops and eventually residential complexes. Dropping down to street level to walk the rest of the way, Tayuya leans into his side again. It's nice to have somewhere so peaceful. Naruto nods, I'm sure everyone here appreciates that as well. Naruto waves at a group of workers who are walking in the opposite direction. They're working so hard for it too. Tayuya nods, we're all working hard for this. Coming up to a newer and somewhat taller apartment complex, Tayuya lead the way up the stairs. Hope Isaribi is doing alright in the apartment we set up for her. I'm sure she's fine, she's a tough woman. Yeah. It doesn't take long for the pair to walk up 2 flights of stairs to find Isaribi's room. Knocking on the door, they wait for a bit before their quarry opens the door to them. Smiling, Isaribi bows in greeting. I didn't expect you to come and visit me. What's the occasion? Ushering them inside, she closes the door behind them and leads them to her living room. No real reason, just wanted to see how you were doing was all. Tayuya had a soft spot for the woman, even if she was older than her. Isaribi is all smiles, it's just like you both said to me. The people of Uzushio are much more accepting of me. Here she plucked at her bandages, a smaller smile on her face, even the children here have been pleasant with me. Tayuya is grinning as she looks around the tidy living room, a couch, low table, and TV sat quietly and waited for attention. What was drawing her gaze, however, were the numerous house plants that dotted every flat surface. You should know that Karen is working around the clock on a cure for you. So keep your spirits up for that. Isaribi nods, something tells me that I won't have a problem doing that in this city. She makes for her small kitchen, would you like some tea? Naruto waves a hand, I don't think so. We just wanted to check in with you and see how you were doing. We're gonna head back in a bit. Tayuya nods as the shorter woman turns to them, make sure to relax plenty, and we'll come let you know when Karen has something for you. Isaribi giggles, that shouldn't be a problem. I found this nice little cafe not far from the tower that serves the best pastries. Oh, and one of your guard ninja, Gosu? He checks in with me often to make sure I'm okay. He's very nice, please thank him for me. He takes his job very seriously. Naruto is grinning already, knowing full well that Gosu was not on guard duty at all. I'll make sure to bring it up with him. Oh, this meant teasing when he saw him tomorrow. Also. Isaribi looked reluctant for a moment before firming herself and staring at Naruto specifically. If I can, I'd like to join your ninja ranks soon. As a water specialist. Naruto shrugs, no problems or arguments from me. Though, until we go public, you won't have much to do besides border patrols. Isaribi bounces once, giddy, that's okay. I've been passing some of my time by swimming with the golem Karen has created in the sea. It's been helping me clear my mind. Karen made some really cute creatures. Tayuya agrees with her, they are just the cutest, aren't they? Karen has good skills. Naruto shakes his head, of course she'd make a friend with your same warped tastes. That earns him an elbow to the gut as the girls gush for a minute together. Naruto, however, is back to thinking about the teasing he was going to level onto Gosu when he saw the older man tomorrow. Apparently he had a crush on a woman who loved sea monsters. Hope the man knew what he was getting into. Tayuya knew what was going through Naruto's head and shook her own as she turned back to Isaribi. Well, as long as you're doing well, then we're gonna head out. Gotta get this stamina freak back home to actually rest for once. I can relax. Like a hyperactive cat. Naruto looks back to Isaribi as Tayuya begins to drag him by the hand towards the door. If you want to get signed up and registered, come to the 4th floor of the tower sometime in the morning and find me. Just come before lunch, cause after that I'll be long gone. He was tossed out the door while Tayuya waved to the girl. I understand, I'll be there. She motions around her house as she giggled at their antics. Well, you all are welcome here anytime. Seeing the pair leave finally, she waves goodbye to them with a smile. Now that she was thinking about it, she had nothing else to do, maybe a good book to read and a pastry would be good for tonight. Maybe she would run that nice guard again. Naruto and Tayuya were already back at street level, Tayuya linking hands with him and walking at a more civilian pace. As they walked, they passed by a group of children who were running in towards the fields. Several of the children recognized Tayuya and come running up to her. Tayuya-sensei, come play with us. Yeah, we haven't seen you in days. You owe us. One of the girls in the group was staring at Naruto in awe. Tayuya-sensei, is that Uzumaki-sama? That tripped off several boys, who immediately set about climbing all over the Kage. Get him. Naruto laughed loudly while letting them try to drag him down. You better team up or you won't take me down. Ora. Tayuya-sensei? One of the other girls, a shorter pink-haired girl with a mousy look, was tilting her head towards her. Tayuya nodded, sure is, sorry kiddos but we have things to do today. Ah. No fun. But we almost have him down. Naruto looked up from where children were hanging from his arms and legs, while one was wrapped around his back. Yeah, not today I don't think. You've got 100 years before that happens. Eventually, the kids start climbing down and rallying themselves for a new game. Come on, let's go hunt down that weird boar golem Lady Karen made. Soon the children were sprinting down the road and Tayuya leaned further into his side. Should we be worried that Karen is making golem that children are bothering? Tayuya shook her head. Karen more than likely instructed them all to be gentle with the children. Returning to their walk, they make their way back towards the city center. Residential gives way to commercial and within a few minutes they are back standing before the Uzumaki Tower and the monument. A new planter had been built around its base, colorful flowers blooming and full of life. Naruto however wraps an arm around her and pulls her close. What do you say? It's good to have a home to come back to, isn't it? Tayuya nods, her head leaning onto his shoulder. He had gotten taller again. Yeah. Having a home is good. She looked up to the tower, inside where her sister wives were probably fooling around as she stood here. It's home. Naruto grins, whisking the girl into his arms in a princess carry, that's right. He ignores her blushing face and several mirthful onlookers. We're home. He made a leap and they were off towards the tower. Tayuya snuggles into his chest. He was right. This was home. It's a quiet night that finds the Akatsuki hideout with several members actually in attendance and using their rooms for rest or in a few cases equipment maintenance. For others, like Itachi, that might also mean deep meditation. Or some, who were prone to getting extremely bored, that meant bothering others. That's how Kisame found himself in their communal break room with Deidara, trying to figure something out. So, your hands, I've always had a question about them. Kisame wasn't one to beat around the bush. Deidara held up one of his hands, palm up where a tongue slipped out to waggle back and forth. What about M? Well, how helpful are they really? Deidara frowned, they're like the core of my jutsu. So pretty helpful I'd say. No, I get that. Kisame reached up to finger Samahata, a scratching and rustling sound filing the space. But that's not what I mean. I'm talking like, in your day-to-day life. Like, don't they get in the way and all? What do I mean? Well like. When you go find yourself a woman, how do you bring that up? Don't they freak out? Or is it like a fetish thing? I'm sure the extra tongues does a lot to help. Oh, can you taste with them then? That'd be rad. Deidara however is blushing as he didn't expect the conversation to go that way. I'd never use my hands like that. They're for my art. Frowning Kisame is more than a little confused, why not? Seems like a pretty easy thing to get around. Seeing Deidara gaping and having a hard time answering, it clicks for the shark-like ninja. Right. I forgot, you're a virgin. I forget that part pretty often. I'm not a virgin damn it. Shrugging the older ninja doesn't see the issue, it's no big deal. Everyone does things at their own pace. But I bet those hands have to make masturbating fucking amazing. WWW what? Yeah. Like, a blowjob whenever you want, though I guess it's your hand so it definitely won't feel the same. Deidara has had enough, standing from his chair and making haste for the door. You are a massive pervert. I would never defile my hands that way. They're for my art, my art. Leaving, Kisame is left shrugging at one of the break tables. I'd try it out at least once. Bet he'd be real popular with the ladies if he ever gets over his nervousness. Kisame sure would give it a shot if he had mouth hands. 'Cause come on, mouth hands. Chapter 40. It is a warm but slightly overcast day that finds Naruto, Ino, and Kotoheim visiting with Tsunami and her family in Wave. It was still relatively early, just before lunchtime, but everyone had set about their own plans for the day. Tayuya and Hinata both had taken a few requests within Uzushio itself, somehow both helping out with some of the local civilian schools. Karen was still sequestered in her lab in the Uzumaki Tower basement, swearing that she'll finish her work soon. Yugo, Sasami, and Kin are out on a mission, something minor that'll see them back quickly, much to Naruto's relief. Seated around the living room while Tsunami has finished serving tea, Tazuna jokes with Naruto and the girls. So, we gonna get some little Uzumakis around here soon or what? Naruto rolls his eyes. Focus on your own grandkid, would ya? Tazuna ruffles Inari's hair, much to the younger boy's protests. Oh, I do. But the more and merrier. Laughing and ignoring the flat look Naruto gives him, Kotohime just smiles and sighs. You never know, little feet might be coming along sooner or later. Tazuna pumps a fist in the air. That's what we like to hear. Deciding that if he could roll his eyes any harder he might break something, Naruto leans back with a heavy breath. Yeah, you called me here about the fortress, remember? Wanna talk about that instead of our love lives? Tazuna leans forward, hands on his knees as he focused on his life's passion. Yes. You said one of the other islands used to have a fortress, but you want to rebuild it essentially from scrap? Naruto nods. Yeah, it's the easternmost island of our island group. It's the second island to the northeast of Uzushio now. I've already started a tunnel to bridge the space, and from there I figured I'd let you at it. Naruto gains a thoughtful look. I'm thinking high walls, weapons emplacements, and something new. Tazuna is really interested now. Something new? Yeah. Sea Spring had been working on airships, but they didn't really have a need for them. Naruto gains a sinister look. I'd like to add airship landing platforms, both for the fortress and for the civilian sector. Koyuki figures the airships would attract wealthy sightseers who want to travel in style, so on the civilian side it's a good money maker, while on the ninja side it's an easy way to move and deploy ninjas safely and in numbers. There aren't any other nations that I know of right now who can fly after all. Tazuna's mind is already whirling. I'll need to meet with the spring engineers about landing platform specifications, but otherwise I can get to designing as soon as you finish the tunnel. Tazuna stares the boy down. Have you given any thought to expanding to the other islands yet? Not yet. The main island can still support a much higher population. The island to the northwest is kinda small and close to the land of hot water, and I think there are some natural hot springs there, so we could develop it in the future. But I'd like to get our military up to snuff first. Naruto was trying to balance practical applications with attractions. Countries ran on both manpower and money after all. Okay. Tazuna relaxes again back into his seat, retrieving his tea and taking a sip. I'll start assembling crews and supplies at the tunnel branch-off point then. I assume you've already started at the Uzushio terminal? Seeing Naruto nod, Tazuna continues, great, then I'll visit a few times over the next couple days to brainstorm and build a design. Sound good? Sounds perfect. Tsunami sees the break in the conversation and raises a hand with a smile. I hope you've remembered, but that ninja is still here. She seems to be content to enjoy herself. Naruto sighs. We should go and find her though, since she requested a meeting. Guess we can do that after we leave y'all. Ino, however, is edging closer to Tsunami, you know. I hear there's this really cute boutique in the city now. Tsunami raises her eyebrows. Oh, is there? Everything changes so quickly, I almost can't keep up. Kotohime nods. We should make a trip soon, get you away from working all the time, make Naruto pick up the slack for a day. Said boy rolled his eyes and turned to Tazuna. Should I just get used to being volunteered to do things by women? Tazuna crossed his arms and nods sagely, often and with a smile. You'll live a happier life that way. Inari raises a hand. You can always come work with us when you want to escape. Naruto faked crying, theatrically wiping away a tear. You're a saint, Inari, the best little brother ever. Chuckling and joking with the pair, the two groups chat and catch up for a short while. Ino and Kotohime doing their best to convince Tsunami to join them for a girls' day, while Naruto hashes out a design ideas for the ninja fortress. Soon, however, Naruto and his girls are standing and making preparations to leave, thanking the family for hosting them. Once the tunnel is finished, I'll make sure to let you know. Tazuna nods. You better, this'll be the last major hurdle before we can really start making a name for ourselves. Naruto grins and gives the older man a thumbs up. Count on it. A week tops, and you'll have all the time you need to work on it. Kotohime bows to the group and turns to Tsunami. We'll come and visit as well, you need to relax. Tsunami waves the girls off. Go on now, I'll be just fine. She was enjoying the responsibilities. It kept her busy and plenty active. Naruto's group sets off, walking down the road and towards the town. Naruto, however, is already frowning, not even a few minutes from Tazuna's home, and the girls can see that. Kotohime nudges him. You're thinking, loudly. One of my clones checked the chakra sensors. There's a large signature wandering alone along the beach. Think that's our visitor? Kotoheim nodded. Has to be, shall we go? Naruto linked his hands behind his head as they subtly switched directions but kept a slow pace. That's why we're here, let's get to it. Kotoheim leans around to poke Ino as Naruto pulls ahead a bit. Leaning in, she whispers a bit, so, I've been meaning to ask, are you and Hinata okay? Ino's eyebrows raise at the question. Nothing had changed lately and no one was fighting as far as she knew. Yeah. Things are okay. We trade barbs for fun sure, but we're not fighting or anything like that. Kotoheim shook her head. No, I meant with Naruto. I've noticed, you both haven't really been asking for time alone with him lately. Ino thought about that one. I guess, at least for me, we've been so busy and between the work, training, and missions. Understanding what the problem might be, Kotoheim realized that the former Leaf Ninja seemed to have a life balance issue. Do we need to lock you three in a bedroom for a few days? Chuckling, the ponytailed blonde shook her head. No. Ino, however, did become a bit self-conscious, pulling at her hair a bit. Has Naruto said something? Kotoheim waved her hands quickly. No, never. It was me, I was just curious and wanted to make sure you were okay. I don't want any of us to feel left out. Sighing with some relief, Ino let her hair go. Well, I'm good. Now that I think about it, I'll make sure to get some alone time with Naruto soon. It would be nice to go on a date that didn't revolve around work. Kotoheim smiled brightly. Good. Ahead of them and oblivious to the conversation, Naruto smiled as the path they were on opened up to a wide and clear beach. There was a scattering of people, mostly locals since this was some distance from town and the port, but he could just make out a blue-haired woman a few hundred meters at the shore. Looks like we found our visitor. While not a censor type like Karen, he had been practicing with her a bit. He could pick out some signatures, but they had to be larger than normal. Ino and Kotoheim rejoined him at his sides as they walked down onto the beach itself, still taking their time. Ino leaned into Naruto with a smile, who wrapped an arm around her with a squeeze. I've been meaning to ask, how goes the poison conditioning? Ino sighs, slow going, but there's progress. Shizune gave me some really good notes and ideas. That's good. Between your earth chakra training, the mind-walking techniques, and your abilities with Senbon and poison, you're a force to be reckoned with. Naruto praised her as he would any of the women in his life. They were all powerful kunoichi. Kotoheim had her hands linked behind her back. What about yourself, Naruto? Any new or crazy ideas that you've been experimenting with? The training area beyond the forest has gotten quiet lately. Naruto grins, sort of. Been playing around more with the space/time functions of the Hiraishin. Feeling both girls shudder next to him had him looking between them both. What? The thought of you playing with time is scary. Ino admitted with no hesitation. It took some thought of his own to come to the conclusion that it was a scary thought to anyone who didn't know seals like he did by now. So Naruto just nodded. I get it. The Hiraishin is a space/time jutsu in the end, and we use it so often we forget that it's sort of reality bending. I'm just breaking a little bit of it is all. Shaking her head, Kotoheim begins to fall back along with Ino as they're coming within range of the ninja. I'm with Ino. The thought of you breaking reality more than you have already is a little scary. I'll keep it to a minimum, honest. Ino nods before remembering a promise. We haven't visited Koyuki in a while, she's probably pissed. Naruto remembered a quiet night in the bath with said daimyo. Once this week is up, we'll go see her, or set something up so she can come to us. He should have figured Koyuki wouldn't have had time to visit with any of the others. He'd have to smack her next time. Kotoheim thought of their trip to Konoha. What do you think of the odds of the Hyuga joining us? Pretty good, honestly. You don't know how the main house treats the branch family. It's shitty. Coming with a now healthy distance of the blue-haired older woman, Naruto focuses. The woman was dressed conservatively in a long sundress over dark blue pants and a long-sleeved blue shirt. A paper rose adorned her hair on the left, which was done up in a bun. Naruto kept his distance, but joined her on her right at the water's edge. The beach is always a good place to clear one's head, isn't it? Conan gives the group of younger teens the side eye and almost dismisses them out of hand. Seeing his left side, and more specifically, the purple eye that was turned to her with a single ripple around a pupil, gave her pause. Who was this boy? Turning to them a bit more, Conan bowed politely. It certainly is peaceful, calming. Are you locals? Naruto shrugged, something like that. He turned to her as well, a grin on his face. I enjoy the peace. Conan nodded as she understood now. just a hunch, but are you the elusive leader that I've heard about? Naruto bows, one arm out for theatrics, you catch on quick. I sure hope you aren't here to cause trouble, I'm trying to build a peaceful nation here after all. Conan smiles in return while shaking her head, myself and my friends dreamed of such a goal once. Long ago. The smile becomes something smaller, more bitter, betrayal runs deep in ninja however. Naruto turns again, looking out across the sea and watching the waves, peace really can only be maintained by constant effort. Constant effort, Conan motioned that she wished to continue walking and Naruto nodded, joining her as Kotohime and Ino followed along behind them. I'm more of the thought that peace can only be maintained through fear. Sure, that was Nagato's belief, but she believed in him. Plus it might get a good response from this younger man. Naruto however had other thoughts on the matter, that sort of peace is temporary. When the threat is gone, the peace will fade. No one lives forever, and so neither can any threat of fear be forever. Conan was quiet for a moment, thinking it over. She turned to look at the teenager. What would you do, if you had the option to choose? I said it, didn't I? It's constant effort. It's communicating. It's following through with promises. It's resolving conflicts and grudges, non-violently if possible. Naruto did know that in the end force was sometimes necessary. Not everyone had peace or harmony in their heart. Conan didn't know his inner thoughts however, but what will you do, when violence is the only answer? Naruto shrugs with a real look of apathy for anyone or anything who could only respond to violence. You'll have to remove the threat. Completely, to the last. His eyes hardened a bit as he fell into his thoughts for a moment. Peace is constant effort. Not all of that effort is non-violent. Non-violence is the first option, but not the only option. Conan nods as she smiles and stares ahead. I admit, you remind me a lot of my good friend, my own leader. Maybe one day you two could meet, discuss your beliefs. Maybe. I'm never opposed to meeting someone. I'll keep that thought in mind. Conan turned to look at Naruto again. What are your plans for the future then, Mr. Peacebuilder? I want to band as many of the smaller villages together under one banner. I want to build something that can last even without ninja villages, to give other options to resolve conflicts, besides war. Here a dark chuckle bubbles up from his throat. I'll always have a big stick ready for those who don't answer to anything else though. I want peace, yes, but I won't be pushed over by tyrants or conquerors. Conan links her hands in front of her as they walk. Our group wants much of the same. We desire peace, but, well, we've been fighting for so long, we've only been able to see obtaining that through pain. Shared pain and anguish of the masses. The woman sighs as she looked up to the sky, possibly looking for some guidance from the kami themselves. I hope your dream comes true. And maybe, if yours proves correct, we can join forces in the future. Show the major villages that there are other methods to peace, besides endless cycles of war and death. That'd be nice. We're always looking for new friends after all. Naruto pauses, holding out a hand to her. I'm Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. These are Ino and Kotohime Uzumaki. Conan stuck her hand out and shook his firmly. My name is Conan. I will pass along your thoughts to my leader. Of course, I can't make any promises. Naruto took his hand back from the warm hand of Conan and shrugged. As long as my message for peace spreads, I'm not too worried. I hope you enjoy your visit here to Wave. Conan bows to him again as Ino and Kotohime come to his sides. I'm sure I will, you've built a beautiful country here. Naruto grins, hopefully next time I see you it can be as allies and friends. And then you can see the rest of it. With that he and the girls flash away, leaving Conan alone on the beach. Smiling softly, she turns to make her way back to town. She'd have to talk to Nagato about this, perhaps try to convince him that there was a better way. Yuzu was real it seemed, and they were hoping for peace, a real peace. But she found that they weren't completely idealist, willing to make the hard decisions. They had hope however, that they wouldn't need to. Maybe just maybe this would bring Nagato back from the edge she had felt like he was teetering on. Scene change, the week is up and Naruto has sent off clones to the Uzumaki temple while in Uzushio Hinata and Karen are towards the end of a residential district at the end of one of the city's spiral arms. This district wasn't as developed, the farmland here sparse, because of heavy rocks, were making tilling difficult. It was however, good land for future residential development which the group of three was putting to use now. The particular section they found themselves in was at the edge of a housing district that was mostly empty while Naruto was walking and marking off a giant squared space on the ground. Several clones were helping him in laying down scrolls and drawing seals, an intricate pattern that eventually linked 4 wide corners before linking all together at the center with a large scroll Naruto unsealed and placed upright. Around all of the work that he had done, Hinata was placing her own seals a few feet out from his, taking care not to interfere with his work. As he and Hinata were finishing up their work while Karen watched on, Tsunami and a small team from the aid station came and joined them from the main road, all patiently waiting without a word. Naruto was the first to bound over, grinning and standing in front of everyone. Just got a clone dispel, looks like things are ready over there. Karen nodded, good, I'd like to see what they decided. Naruto's grin held, you just might be surprised. Naruto turned to Hinata, who was kneeling down at a corner, you ready? Hinata nodded, yes. Pumping chakra into her seals, a bright blue barrier burst into life around the site. Naruto nodded, making the beginning seals of the summoning technique, before placing his hands down on a seal drawn onto the ground. Pumping in the required chakra, there was a large eruption of smoke from within the barrier. Getting gasps from the onlookers, Naruto keeps grinning as with a gust of wind the smoke is cleared and the Uzumaki shrine stands before them. Well, mostly. The abandoned temple would need some renovations and rebuilding before it looked like its former glory. Several clones are standing around the front of the temple, catching sight of Naruto and the group before dispelling themselves. Naruto turned to Hinata, you're good Hinata, you can drop the barrier. Okay. Doing as she was asked, she released the chakra and let the barrier drop. Sighing with some relief, she walked to rejoin Karen as Naruto walked up to the temple steps. Yo! Naruto raised a hand as from inside the temple first came Neji, and soon dozens and then hundreds of people made themselves known. Looks like you did as you said. Neji nodded, coming up to Naruto and bowing deeply. The branch family, given a better option, decided unanimously to leave the leaf behind. Neji stood tall, we are yours, Lord Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes, just Naruto would ya? Now. Naruto turned to motion to Tsunami and her group of workers, these people are here to help you all get registered in our system and get settled. There is a plot of land here with several large homes that we've set aside for you until you decide if you want to build a new clan compound or if you're fine here. Naruto turned back to them all with a confident smile, I'll be making clones as well, and I'll begin removing seals once you've registered. There were mutters among the crowd, but he could tell none of them seemed negative. We're really going to be freed? No more seal? The Uzumaki really have returned. We can be ourselves. Naruto turned away, waving toward Tsunami, like I said, you all get settled and we'll talk more about things later. Naruto began to walk back towards Hinata and Karen, the Hyuga family coming down the temple steps behind him to queue up before Tsunami and her group, following orders with little protest. Neji followed Naruto for a moment. Naruto. Said boy had reached the other girls, but turned back to address Neji properly. I want to thank you again. You've done more for us than anyone else I can think of in a long time. We're in your debt. Naruto shrugged, I'd do it again, Neji. Your family needed help and I could provide it. Honestly, if you had decided not to leave Konoha, I still would have found a way to remove your seals, I think. Slavery isn't something I could ignore. Neji nodded, bowing deeply again, regardless, for what you've done, I am at your service, for now until eternity. Naruto sighs, it really was Yugo all over again, it's really not necessary. Enjoy your freedom, take care of your family. Neji shook his head, that's precisely why it's necessary. Karen was the best at stating the obvious, nudging him in the side, it's Yugo all over again. Naruto groans, look. Go. Enjoy time with your family and get settled together in your new home. I'll come visit in a few days, alright? Neji stands and nods, acknowledging the order and turning to return to the rest of the former branch family members. By your order, Lord Naruto. Naruto sighed and made hundreds of clones with a thought, setting half about the task of rebuilding the temple, while the other half went to help with the Hyuga. Turning away, he just caught sight of the shade of Mito Uzumaki at the temple's entrance. She had a smile on her face, before his view of her was obscured and she was gone again. Ah, he remembered that he had a job to do with her as well soon. Guess he could get to that after rebuilding the temple. Karen watched the proceeding with a neutral look, so what's the plan now? He really had gotten the entire branch family it looked like. Naruto smirked, we're gonna relax for now. We won't be doing much until I remove all of their seals as we take care of registering them as Uzushio citizens. Karen nods, moving to join Tsunami and her team with registration paperwork. Guess it's in my best interests to help out. That vacation sounds better every day. Naruto turned to the girl. How's that project with Isaribi? Didn't you finish it? Karen grins. Oh, absolutely. Poor Gosu sure seems to like the look of the healed Isaribi. She has her Kaima form much like Amachi did now, able to transform back and forth at will. Naruto nods. Well, that's great to hear. Guess we're all done here. Karen waves and jogs away. I'm gonna go help out then. Hinata takes a more sedate pace towards Tsunami and the others. I believe I will help out as well. She leans back to kiss the boy softly. Before retreating, you should take it easy. Naruto shook his head. Not yet. Think I'll stick around, show my real face, answer questions, and the like. The girls would be nagging at him to take it easy, no matter what he did. At least with this, it was something people related. Though hours later and the sun long set, Naruto found himself relaxed and on the roof of the Uzumaki Tower, watching the stars. Breathing deeply and enjoying the cool sea breeze, his attention is taken in by shuffling. Looking over towards the roof access, he's met with the smiling face of Ino. Yo. Ino pulled herself the rest of the way up. Yo yourself. Come out. She settled herself in to sit next to her love quietly. Are you okay? Naruto nodded. Of course. Things are great. Yuzushio is shaping up, things are peaceful, and nothing crazy has happened in a while. Ino nods at that, her gaze turning up to the stars with him. I wanted to ask. Your eye, it's changing. Ah, so she noticed, which meant the others most likely had as well. Yeah. I noticed too. Don't know what it's about, but Kurama mentioned that I should have access to some new abilities soon. I'm gonna start trying to train with it when I have more time. Ino chuckles at that. How many clones do you have out there working right now? Like the tunnel to the next island? 1,000. At least. You're supposed to be taking it easy. Naruto agrees with her. I know. Tunnel construction is easy though. Ino shakes her head, looking down towards him with a gleam in her eye. I'm going to have to paralyze you and tie you to your bed. Laughing with a snort, Naruto shakes his head. Okay, I get it. I'll really take it easy soon, honest. Ino nods. You better, Buster, you can't wear yourself out. Here she lays down with him and cuddles close. That's our job. Hi, and you do a great job of it. One arm wraps around the girl as he continues to watch the stars. Ino, however, snuggles deeper into him. You know, I wouldn't mind a repeat of our trip to the land of hot water. We could take everyone. That's a pretty good plan actually. I know it is, I came up with it. Oh, she's so modest too. Stuff it, Whiskers. They chuckle together before settling down and letting the silence fall over them. The sounds of the city rise up to serenade them, things winding down as the night goes on. They hear a bell from a rail car transporting people, several rings, telling them this was probably one of the last ones of the day. Enjoying the time alone, Ino smirks as she rolls over onto Naruto's chest. You know. It's just you and me up here. Naruto rolled his eyes, hands already on her hips and massaging them. Oh really, what's that mean? Ino leaned in, chest pressing against his. Could mean a lot of things. Softly she pecks his lips with hers, or it could mean nothing. She moans as he pulls her into an actual kiss, her own hands coming up to caress his cheeks. All of the girls had figured out that his whisker scars were in fact very sensitive and usually the best way to make him putty. Pulling back with a smile, Ino rocks her hips a bit. How about it? Out here under the stars? I mean, I'm not opposed to dash from the roof access. A grinning Tayuya pops her head up. Hey, everyone's looking for you. Dash trailing off, she takes in the scene before her. Her grin becomes absolutely feral. Oh ho, never mind, I'll leave you two alone then. She was happy for the other girl. Even Tayuya had noticed Ino hadn't been getting as much alone time with Naruto. Ino giggled but shakes her head. I'm trying to get a vacation out of Naruto. Tayuya nods, saluting the girl. Get to it then. I'll let the others know I found ya. Then she was gone, voice echoing out for the others. Ino turns back to focus on Naruto. So, back to what we were talking about. Naruto shakes his head, rolling them over so he has her pinned under her. So, a vacation then? He has her hands trapped in his own, though she's locked her legs around his waist. Ino nods, a light blush on her face. It'd be nice, you know. For everyone. Hinata and I got to experience it. They should too. Her blush intensifies as Naruto leans closer to her. What? Naruto kisses her hotly, tongue entwining with hers as they both grind against each other. With a sigh and a moan, Naruto pulls away to see the young woman under him panting and blushing heavily. Then we'll hit the land of hot water again. That's my promise. Ino nods, you better keep that promise. You know I will, believe it. You're so corny. You love it. From here he kisses her one more time before getting up and helping her up in turn. It's a few moments before they're down through the roof access and back inside. Joking with each other and holding hands, they come out to the living room where everyone else is present. Naruto puts his hands on his hips and he gains their attention. So, in case anyone doesn't know, I said we'd take some time off. So I'm confirming, after the Hyuga are all settled in, we're going on a vacation. We're headed to the land of hot water. Hinata giggles and claps her hand, oh you all will just love it there. Tayuya and Karen cheer while Kotoheim smiles, this will be an experience. Ino latches onto his arm, I'm calling first shot though. Tayuya is already over the couch, wait a minute. Naruto was quick to substitute himself with a pillow as Ino and Tayuya went at it. He'd let them hash out girl things, suddenly he felt like he needed to sleep, probably for a week straight. Scene change, in the morning Naruto found himself on the tower's 5th floor. His office was situated here, a long bank of windows that stretched from ceiling to floor behind his heavy wood desk gave him a view of the city beyond. Along one wall were bookshelves slowly filling with research notes and personal books he had been putting together, while on the opposite wall was a slowly growing collection of weapons both found and built. The Chinoite clan was having fun with some of their creations, and it was beginning to give him ideas. He had thought about maybe making special weapons, much like the Swordman Corps from Kiri. He'd have to think more on that later. Today his focus was on the Hyuga clan. Now that they all were registered with Uzushio, he was sure to see some of them begin requesting to be added to the ninja roster. Hearing a knock on his door, he raised his voice. Enter. The door opened and in walked Niji, just one of the people he had been thinking of. Closing the door behind him, Niji walked up to Naruto's desk, standing instead of taking one of the 3 chairs placed in front of it. Good morning Lord Naruto. What's up Niji? Niji bows lightly, first, an update. The clan has decided collectively to change our name. We no longer wish to be associated with the Hyuga clan. I hadn't paid attention to the registration forms, that's Tsunami's area. What are you calling yourselves now? Niji is smiling now, we had decided to call ourselves the Hataru. Naruto nods, making a mental note to call them the Hataru from now on, right? Well if you're here, I'm assuming you're looking to register as a Yuzunin? Niji nods, ready to defend his choice by the looks of it before Naruto cuts him off by throwing a headband at him. Niji catches it easily enough, there you go. You're an Uzushio ninja now. Wear it with pride and honor. Just like that? Just like that. Niji looks at the whirlpool symbol etched into the metal plate held onto the dark blue cloth headband. He ties it to his left arm slowly before turning to stand at attention in front of Naruto. I shall not fail you, Lord Naruto. Just Naruto is fine, I've told you that. Naruto tenses his hands in front of him as he rests his elbows on the table. We're going to operate much like Konoha. 3-man cells, 4-man cells if we're including a teacher or a superior on a mission. Though we like to do mandatory break periods between out-of-country missions. Niji nods at the information and bows. Most of the Hataru are not ninja trained, but more than a few are and will be joining the rank soon as their families settle in. Naruto nods, I hope they settle in easily and wish them luck. Uzushio is full of people much like them, looking for a place to call home. Naruto waves towards the door, if you want to take a mission you can head down to the 4th floor and take one for inside the city for the day. You're alone, so you won't have a lot of options until we can put together a team for you or add you to an active one. Niji turns to leave, I'll do my best until then. I'll do my family proud. Clear eyes held high, Niji opened the door to leave. He had to step back however as Karen was there, her own forehead protector proudly on display in its proper place. Oh, after you Lady Uzumaki. Karen bows to him lightly, thank you Hataru-san. She had no problem making the switch their new name. Walking inside, she watched him leave and close the door behind him. They're already trying to get to work, huh? Naruto nodded as he watched her walk up to him, yeah. No rest for the determined. Karen comes up to his desk, there's a project I'd like to show you, think you have some time before we leave on vacation? Naruto nods, absolutely. I'll come down and see it later. Karen nods, coming around his desk and taking up a position at his right shoulder. So how does it feel to finally be in your office? To be in a real position of power? Naruto sighs as he sets about working through the light amount of paperwork he had. It's both stressful and highly boring. I have clones out working and training, sure, but I'm stuck here for today. I think I'll alternate between leaving a clone here or not from now on. Karen giggles, shaking her head. I think I could help the time go by faster. Oh really? And how's that? Oh, you know, a girl has her ways. Karen adjusted her glasses with a glint and a smirk on her face. Naruto motioned towards the door. Tsunami and Hinata are on their way. I can feel them. I know you can too. He turns his chair to her and pushes back a bit. Whatever funny business you have in that head will have to wait. Karen's grin widens as she dives under the desk and pulls his chair back into place. Don't underestimate me, Yuzukage-sama voice trailing off. Naruto isn't given time to protest as the door to his office begins to open. Well shit. Forced to keep a straight face, Naruto greets the pair as the door opens completely and they walk inside. Tsunami is all smiles, a clipboard held in one hand as she and Hinata walk up to his desk and each take a seat. I wanted to inform you, the Hataru are all registered and seem to be settling in nicely. Though, they seem to have taken it upon themselves to keep watch over the Uzumaki shrine when enough of them are available, working on rotations. Naruto groans, what could have possessed them to start that up? I had clones rebuilding the place. Tsunami adjusts the clipboard in her lap. Well, the general sentiment among the clan is that they are beyond grateful to you. It borders almost on worship. But they seem to be integrating well with the populace, and I have no doubt they'll adjust to life here with no problems. Naruto nods, that's good news then. Hinata leans forward a bit. While I agree with Tsunami, I know that the Hataru would appreciate a visit from you personally. Naruto twitches but agrees all the same. I'll make sure to visit then. Think you'll have time to come along with me? Of course, I can always make time. Tsunami nods, as well, just some minor updates. Father says most of the trolley car network is complete, so expect to see more of the carts begin to enter service. As well, Spring has mentioned adding the public transport system to their own port city. So it's working out for the normal citizens then? Oh yes, perfectly. Tsunami is still all smiles. As Naruto seems happy about the development, Tsunami slowly stands. That's it for now, I have to get back to Wave. Her gaze turns to Hinata. Will you be joining me? Hinata shakes her head. No yet, I have something else to bring up with Naruto. Tsunami nods, bowing to Naruto and Hinata before making her way for the door. She had noticed a flushed but determined look in Hinata's eyes, all the flames of youth. She missed the flinch from Naruto as she opened and left through the door, leaving the teenagers alone. It is here that Hinata stands, stepping forward to sit on the edge of his desk with a smirk, veins bulging around her eyes. I wondered why you seem twitchy. Hinata's eyes shift down and then up to him again. Karen sure seems determined. Naruto's eyes cross as Karen proves that in fact she is very determined. There's a slurping sound and Karen's voice calls out from under the desk. You're welcome to get down here and help me out. I think this is a two-girl kind of job. Hinata flushes but stands, walking around the desk and making eye contact with the redhead. She leans in to whisper into Naruto's ear. I think that's a marvelous idea. Slipping down under the desk as well, she leaves Naruto to shake his head. Well, I'm not getting any work done today. He wasn't going to complain, however. Being a Kage sure had its perks. Oh Make, it's been a long and difficult journey, but Kuratsuchi and Suzumabachi find themselves in the land of hot water. Having traveled from the land of rice to nearly the southern tip of the current country, they had no luck finding their target. The man was like a ghost, a true shadow. The stories they had found had ranged all over the place as well. From the maelstrom had destroyed a palace to some man they instead called the one who sees the truth had liberated a long-thought-dead clan. It was confusing the pair, and with that confusion was coming anger. Suzumabachi was good at hiding hers as she was still treating this as one massive vacation, while Kuratsuchi is dead set on finding this asshole at this point and stomping a hole in his ass. Today, however, found them at a rest stop, a group of tan-skinned ninja hanging around relaxing. Must be a group from Cloud then. Kuratsuchi and Suzumabachi sat themselves at the only other table, knowing better than to cause problems in this country. The land of hot water was very big on peaceful and neutral interactions within their borders and went to great lengths to keep it that way. With that in mind, Kuratsuchi decides to strike up a friendly conversation. Must be good to come down from the mountains from time to time, huh? The lightning group of B, Yujito, Samui, Karui, and Omoi idly watch the two Iwa Nines with trepidation. Yujito however shrugs, because why not? It was time off. A vacation is always nice. What about yourselves? Long way from home. Koratsuchi nodded, we're taking a break ourselves, it's been a long journey and I want to refresh myself. Samui nodded as they boys set about ignoring the women, I know what you mean, it's hard to get quality rest on the road. As the girls talk back and forth, Omoi's eyes furtively dance from Suzumabachi to the surrounding area. His usual muttering begins, low at first, but eventually draws attention. And it's Suzumabachi who notices his looks. He alright? Karui nods, just ignore him, if you don't interrupt him, then hopefully he won't go off the rails with some new but weird tangent. Crazy shit comes out of his mouth all the time. Suzumabachi however is curious, wondering why the other ninja keeps looking at her. Why do you keep looking at me? Omoi almost can't help himself, answering before really thinking about it. It's just. Hot water is a neutral place, but how do we know you aren't with another group? Two women traveling alone? Suspect. No, she could be signaling another group. That forehead is so large it reflects light at the perfect angle. Suzumabachi can feel her blood pressure rising. What was that? Your forehead could be used as a signal flare? My forehead isn't that large, you asshole. Kuratsuchi begins to laugh up a storm as Suzumabachi just barely holds herself back from throttling the other ninja while his teammate shakes him back and forth to make him shut up. B however takes the time to point at the laughing Kuratsuchi, guys should be nice to their comrades, laughing at women isn't nice. That shuts down the granddaughter of Inoki instantly, what do you mean by that? B senses danger, but powers through anyway. Whoever this guy is, he won't be much of a threat. Only the cubic container would be an issue to him. Just, as a man you should be more mindful. Not weeks of frustration and rage at traveling and just missing their mark apparently time after time, this sent her over the edge. Kuratsuchi stands, I'm a woman, damn it. Ripping open her shirt, she points at her chest, see. Boobs. Boobs. There's silence between the two groups, before Omoi opens his mouth again. Karui's are bigger than that. Are you sure you're a woman? The pounding he received from Karui was honestly probably deserved, in retrospect. Kuratsuchi herself is being held back by a cackling Suzumabachi, you can't kill the guy for stating a fact. From behind them, the proprietor of the outdoor rest stop is coming over to calm things down, hopefully to avoid violence. Please Ninja-san, don't be so brazen in public. Ignoring it all, Yujito and Samui are both enjoying a cup of tea. This vacation really was turning out really well, their bodies had never been more relaxed. They wondered what new hot spring they would find next. Chapter 41. True to his word, Naruto had transported the group to the land of hot water for a relaxing vacation. Having attempted to do things properly, he had sent a clone ahead to explore and reserve a suite in a resort that would accommodate them all. Having found that, he now led the way high onto a misty mountain that he was telling the others was supposed to be rather elusive but offered great privacy. The girls were egging him on a bit, saying that he was being very proactive for once, and Naruto would only quip back that he was always proactive. Sorta. Most the time. I want to treat you all as you deserve, that's all. Heartfelt sentiments voiced and hearts set aflutter, Naruto continued to lead the way with a much more curious group. Tayuya bounced along beside him, should we be worried about Yuzushio? Shaking his head, Naruto pulled her into his side, nah. I left detailed instructions behind with a few clones that might last us some days. The Hataru are going to take over on border guard duties, while the Chinoite clan is going to take more out-of-country requests. Naruto pauses to think about things while the normally feisty girl at his side was currently swooning at his more assertive demeanor, enjoying his firm grip on her waist while the others looked on and giggled. Tsunami has things in hand on the paperwork side of things, though I'm sure my inbox will be full when we return. Karen chimes in, we'll have to do something nice for Tsunami when we return. Maybe throw a party for her? Ino shook her head, we should send her here instead, let her get pampered and relax for a few days. Yugo, Kin, and Sasami nodded, we wouldn't mind running guard duty for her as well. Kotoheim shook her head, we do have other ninja for that, plus, we're going to be running missions when we return. We'll all be very busy for the next few months, to maybe a full year. Naruto nodded at that, still on the fence about the toads and their offer. He had been putting off sage training. But with his eye apparently evolving, he was thinking it might not be best to put it off anymore. Sage training would surely help him out. It is not long before the group makes their way up the mountain trail to come out on a wide well-kept road. The trees part and before them over a chasm in the mountain is situated a bridge. Wide and inviting, it leads to a tall bathhouse sitting alone on a rock pillar. Steam could be seen spilling out from chimneys while the bright red and white building gave them all happy vibes. They couldn't see many people however, which considering how high up they were it was a sure bet that only the most fit civilians or ninja frequented this location. Nice for privacy indeed. The group crosses the bridge while enjoying the chilly breeze and marveling that they can already smell the inviting fragrances from the bathhouse. Barely a minute later finds the group inside before a shorter older woman with very poofy hair and an equally fluffed up blue dress. Smiling, the woman bows to Naruto and his group. My name is Yubaba, and welcome to my humble bathhouse. We thank you for your patronage. Naruto nods. We have a room ready, yes? Absolutely, I've already had my staff prepare it, please, right this way. Several very large rings adorned her fingers while her aging face twisted as she smiles. You'll not find a better selection of baths here, from indoor to outdoor accommodations, private rooms as well as in your suite, a more intimate setting it available. The old woman gave a dry chuckle that had the group smiling weakly. Nodding along, Naruto waves it all away. I'm sure we'll love it. You came highly recommended from the daimyo. Did we? I'll have to make sure to keep that in mind. The rest of the trip was quiet, a few stairwell trips and a couple of elevator rides later, and the group was being led to a room on the top floor. The entire floor is yours for your stay. Your retainers are situated in this slightly smaller room on the right, while your room Lord Uzumaki is here on the left. Your other guest is already here. Naruto nodded and bowed lightly. Thank you for your consideration, Yubaba. Should we come down for our meals? Yubabe shook her head. No. I'll send one of the girls up when mealtime is close to take orders, and food will be brought to you. If you wish not to be disturbed until later, please hang the offered tile on the door if you would. Seeing Naruto nod, the manager left with quick strides, while Naruto and the girls opened the door to their room. There they are met with a smiling Koyuki who's already jumping into Naruto's arms with a laugh. Hinata watched the older woman leave. She seemed nice. Ino shrugged. She looks like a witch. Hinata smacked her nearly instantly. What she does? Naruto rolled his eyes as he carried the giddy daimyo inside, followed by everyone else. Well, let's get situated, plan things out and enjoy ourselves. I'm thinking at least a week here before we get back to it. Koyuki nods along. I'm just happy to be able to relax for a few days. Thank you for coming and getting me. Of course Koyuki, you know I wouldn't leave you out of the fun. Naruto watches as the girls enter and explore the wide open room while he turns to Yugo and the Fuma girls. Think you'll need any help getting situated? Yugo shakes his head. I think we'll be alright, Lord Naruto. He's pulled off balance as Kin is already tugging him away, Sasami at his back pushing as well. Don't worry about this big lug, we got him. Kin was grinning much as her sister would. Sasami nodded as well. We'll meet you later as long as you aren't busy. Sasami flushed a bit as she said it, having overheard some of the plans of the other girls. So bold. Naruto however smirked as Kotohime lingered by him a bit. Just so you know, your room does have separate rooms for each of you. Here Naruto wiggled his eyebrows. Though you don't have to use them all, feel free to shack up together. Kotohime nodded. I'm sure my little sister won't mind that arrangement. Blushing and stammering, the threesome disappeared out of the door, to the laughter of Naruto and Kotohime. Kotohime sobers first, kissing the boy lightly before jogging to catch up with the others, leaving Naruto to admire the room. The main room was a wide sitting area with a low table, while off to the right were couches and chairs and a long balcony that looked like it stretched the length of the wall even towards the back room. He could hear the girl's voice from there, so he followed along and walked inside. The room itself was massive, the bed taking up a good portion of space while to the right there was in fact balcony access and against the near wall was a couch. In one corner was a table, while at the left wall was a wide space with a large tub that looked like it would fit at least 5 people. There was another door at the rear of the room, and through the glass he could see some type of outdoor seating area. Good bet the balcony wrapped around the building to connect there then. He was ignoring the fact that all of the girls were either in the middle of changing or already naked, pulling on bathrobes while they chatted and made plans for the day. Grinning, he knew without a doubt that Jiraiya would kill him to be in his spot right now. Naruto would gladly kill Kami right now, to stay right where he was. He was a man, damn it, judge him not. Noticing and turning to face him, a happy-looking Hinata turns to face him. wearing a smile and not much else. Oh, Naruto. Us girls are going to explore the baths for a while. Think you can keep Koyuki company for the afternoon? Naruto nods slowly, yeah, I can handle that. Ino leans into his vision, you're looking a little distracted there, Naruto. Her eyes turn downwards on him, you've gotta wait till after the baths though. Naruto waves her off, tease later, or else we'll never get to enjoying the bathhouse. Tayuya called out from here she was pulling on a robe, I don't mind getting sweaty, before a bath. Shaking her head, Karen was already dressed and waiting, I remember the last time at home we had to drag you and Ino out of our own bath. You overheat too fast. Well, maybe I just need conditioning is all. Karen shook her head again, more like you need to stop being such a SL. Kotoheim had leaned over to pull the shorter Uzumaki towards the door, why don't we start making our way downstairs? There were a lot of options for baths, and I'm sure we all want to explore more than a few. Dragging Karen kicking and screaming through the door with a hand over her mouth, the two were gone in moments. Ino and Hinata weren't far behind, blowing kisses to Naruto, while Tayuya came up to him directly. Don't get worn out before we meet back up. Softly she leaned against him to share a kiss. Naruto shook his head as she pulled away, no worries there. Watching the girl leave like the others dressed in a striped white and blue robe, that eventually left Naruto alone with Koyuki herself, who was already slipping into a bathhouse robe. Naruto turned and watched her change for a moment, before remembering that he needed to change. Koyuki caught his staring however, are you going to spoil me this trip? She took the time to sit on the edge of the bed, not yet tying the robe closed and showing off a lot of creamy skin. Naruto cursed the fact that somehow the not completely naked aspect of her was somehow just as alluring as her being completely naked. Damn hormones. Absolutely, though I'm sure you want to hit the baths first like everyone else? Koyuki grinned impishly, robe slipping down one shoulder as her long hair spilled out behind her, I don't know. I wouldn't mind a workout before a bath. Naruto was already pulling clothes off, that a request? That's an order, Yuzukage. Yes ma'am. It was going to be a long day, Naruto decided. Downstairs, and several minutes later found the girls together in a large open-air bath, relaxing while chatting away with each other. There weren't many people here as they thought, but there were a few. Most likely ninja, Karen had mentioned, but no one was concerned about problems here. Everyone knew how determined the hot water ninja were to keeping the peace. Through the mists as they get comfortable, Ino and Hinata make eye contact with a group of girls they had met before, Ino's eyes going wide while Hinata blushed a bit. Yo! Samui, imagine seeing you again. Said Blonde, flushed only a little as she recognized the pair, now with a larger group of women. Hello again, fancy meeting you here. Huh, if they were here then they must be ninja, they were wrong about that before. Karui was already up, yo Ino my girl. How are ya? Oh you know, another day to be worshipped. She missed Yujito and Samui, blushing heavily at that. Meet the family, these are my co-wives, Tayuya, Karen, and Kotoheim. All of the said girls waved with smiles. Karui raised an eyebrow, co-wives? Tayuya nods, yeah, the man really knows how to run things when he's motivated. Personally, she was looking forward to later. Naruto had mentioned he had something planned for them all. Yujito had floated over to Hinata and Ino, bowing lightly to both, I apologize for the interruption last time. Hinata waved her off, while Ino just looked on confused, don't worry about it. We should have put out the do not disturb sign at the least. Hinata looked over to see Ino confused, oh, it was them last time we were at that other resort. Remember when someone knocked on the door? Ino however, couldn't remember that. All she could remember was the sensation of being filled, repeatedly, and body-tingling bliss. Right, yeah. No sweat. Hinata however knew the other girl didn't remember, like she said, it's no problem. Yujito bowed again, thank you. So you're on another vacation then? We finished our remodel, so we're celebrating that. Though this might be the last vacation for a while now that we can get back to work. Hinata wanted to enjoy every minute of this time off and certainly didn't want any interruptions. That must be nice, to celebrate when you want. Yujito was a ninja after all, if it wasn't for this mission, she'd probably be in some dank sewer right now chasing after some bounty or other. Ino grinned, work hard, play hard. That's our motto. Ino remembered why the other group was hunting around themselves, have you had any luck finding your friend? Yujito shook her head as they watched Tayuya and Karui flex on each other, no, but we're close, we can feel it. Hinata smiles as Karen tries to get in the middle of defuse what looks like tempers flaring. Poor peacekeeper, well good luck to you. We know how hard it can be to be worried about a dear friend. Naruto pulled enough crazy stunts to make them all worry more than not. From the changing room another pair was walking into the space. Sighing heavily, the mists part to reveal a worn-out pair of Kuratsuchi and Suzumabachi. Karui catches sight of them and snickers, while the Uzumaki group looks on in curiosity. Kuratsuchi looks up and sees the lightning group, but her rage is long gone. It's you lot. Karui can't help herself and chuckles, it's just us girls this time. No need to get your panties in a twist. Samui shakes her head, play nice Karui. Karui shrugged, what? This is me being nice. Kuratsuchi and Suzumabachi ease themselves into the water, though Suzumabachi leans over to whisper into Kuratsuchi's ear. Perking up a bit, the Iwa girl sits up a bit straighter while eyeing the Uzumaki group. I'm Kuratsuchi, this is Suzumabachi, nice to meet you. Kotoheim takes the lead on this one and bows lightly, good afternoon. I'm Kotoheim. These are Tayuya, Karen, Ino, and Hinata. We're on a vacation trip, how about yourself? Kotoheim was not liking the energy these girls put off. They were trouble, unlike this other group of girls they had been chatting with. On a hunt actually. Looking for this maelstrom asshole. Kuratsuchi shrugged and let some real frustration show. Honestly, I don't know why his rating is so high since all he seems to do is hide. Guy can get bent at this point. She was laying it on a little thick, but she wanted to see if she could get a reaction out of these girls. Suzumabachi claimed they had the maelstrom scent on them. Did that mean he was here? A tick mark formed on Tayuya's forehead, though the other girls controlled themselves much better. I think you're just made, he's obviously talented enough to stay far away from you. Kuratsuchi saw she struck a nerve, point for her, what? You a fangirl of his? Maybe get some better tastes in men. Find a flat chest like you berating my choice in men to be pretty funny. Who you calling a flat chest, you gorilla? Just calling it like I see it, sir. Suzumabachi leaned over while the two more outspoken girls traded barbs back and forth. I'm just here to collect a paycheck, I really don't care about any of this. It is a sympathetic Karui who pipes up, I know what you mean, we're kinda in the same boat at the moment. Ino finally rolls her eyes, knowing Tayuya just wanted to scrap with anyone who was willing. Hauling the other wife off to a corner, Ino soothes her a bit, now, let you and me have a wrestle and cool off. That bitch needs a beating. Hi, maybe later. Kuratsuchi smirked, what's her deal? She'd met fangirls before and never had any respect for any of them. She'd started the trash talk purely because of that alone. It was looking like however she might have her answer. The maelstrom was most likely here, which meant these girls could be bargaining chips. Kotoheim sighed, let's just say she is a bit of a fan is all. Things settle down from there. The Uzumaki girls somewhat frosty towards the Iwa group while the Cloud Ninja couldn't care less either way. Samui and Yujito recognized now that the Uzumaki girls were ninja as well, while Karui seemed oblivious to it. They'd have to get her up to speed after this. Later. When they left the bath. Not far away and mingling in a co-ed bath, Naruto and Koyuki have eased themselves into the water with smiles. Naruto patting himself on the back for a job well done while Koyuki was easing soreness. You're going to break me. Naruto grinned, you'd love every second of it. Koyuki nodded and leaned into him, most likely. Leaning into his side and enjoying their closeness, Koyuki brought up some stuff from home she had forgotten about. A group of spring engineers are coming to Uzushio soon. They've been playing around with your explosive seals as propulsive devices. Also, they heard from Tazuna he needs specifications for airship platforms. Naruto nods, yeah, I wanted to give a reason to actually use the airships for civilian purposes. The engineers and I will have a meeting. Good, that way they can stop bugging me. I don't understand any of what they talk about, that's your thing. Koyuki hummed with delight as his arm snaked around her waist to pull her close. This is nice. Naruto agrees, absolutely. He certainly wasn't going to complain about having a few days alone with his favorite people. Koyuki lays her head on his shoulder, a hand idly trailing along his well-formed chest and abs. Do you think, is Uzushio ready to go public yet? Naruto shakes his head, not yet. I want to make a trip to Kiri, obtain one more sponsor among the major villages, and then we can, I think. I'll check with Tsunade and Gaara if I've forgotten anything. Keep me posted. If I need to be prepared for anything on my end, I want to be ready. Hopefully things won't go too crazy. Knowing them, however, things were liable to spiral out of control quickly. If they do, I'll protect you all with my strength. You better make sure to take care of yourself as well. We can fight out battles as well, you don't have to do everything. I'll try to remember that. And he would. He was strong, growing stronger every day. So were they, and he didn't want to forget that. Together they relaxed and enjoyed the soothing bath for a while, embracing each other while they let themselves rest. In the distance, they could hear the chaos that usually was related to the rest of their group. Koyuki giggled, should we be worried about them? Nah, they'll be fine. Scene change, later that night and sneaking along the roof of the bathhouse, Kuratsuchi and Suzumabachi are making their way to infiltrate the penthouse suite. Kuratsuchi motions for them to halt and looks back again at the insect user. You're absolutely positive that the maelstrom is here? Suzumabachi didn't dare roll her eyes, but she really wanted to. Yes, my lady, he's here. Kuratsuchi grinned, good. Grandfather said he just wanted me to observe. But after all this bullshit and everything that's happened, I'm taking this asshole out and bringing his corpse back for study. He's not that tough. She had it all planned out. Swoop in, encase his head in ash and maybe melt off a limb or two with some lava. Easy peasy and be gone before the hot water ninja can hunt her down. Seeing an open window, Kuratsuchi's grin widens even more. Stay here and only come after me if it looks like something has gone wrong. As you wish. Kuratsuchi applies chakra to her hand and rolls over the roof's edge, using her momentum to sail through the window where she was already welling up chakra. She wanted to make this quick. She was not prepared for the sight that greeted her. Nor the noise. If she had been more aware, she would have noticed that her chakra had been forcibly cut off. Naruto had been nice enough to set up a combination sound barrier as to not disturb the rest of the patrons. As such, when Kuratsuchi entered the room she was met full force by loud moaning and near screaming of several women all at once. So much moving flesh, how many clones could this guy make? Why was that girl bent that way, and how many clones was she taking at once? Head spinning and thoroughly distracted, Kuratsuchi uttered a small squeak that drew the real Naruto's attention, taking a slight break while an exhausted Ino panted on the bed next to him. Eyes locking onto the intruder, the mood in the room changed near instantly. Several new clones of Naruto burst into existence, all angling towards Kuratsuchi while the occupied clones switched from fun time to defense time, moving or dragging their various partners out of the room. Startled cries or protests met deaf ears as Kuratsuchi was caught flat-footed and tossed back out of the window with several naked clones in pursuit. Standing and dressing quickly, the real Naruto unseals his sword and tosses his jacket over Ino while a new clone stays with her. I'll be back. Protect the girls. On it, boss. As Naruto leapt from the window, a purple barrier sprung to life around the room. Nothing would be getting in or out from then on. Focused as he was, it was easy to avoid a kunai from a new assailant. Making a new brace of clones to take care of them, Naruto focuses on the first intruder, diving into the forest below them and following the sounds of explosions. He's cut off, however, by several summoned insects. Oh, for fuck's sake. Charging chakra into his sword, he swings, Kaze no Yaiba. A supercharged blade of wind makes short work of the summons, but it gives his pursuer time to catch up. A younger girl with a mean look and a wide forehead greets him. Sorry about this, but I can't let you continue. Summoning a swarm of bees, Suzumabachi is ready to stand her ground. She misses a clone landing behind her, seals on its wrist glowing. Naruto smirks, you picked the wrong fight, I wa-nin. Watching the clone catch her and her bugs in an explosion, he unseals and tosses a suppression tag to the clone, catch her alive. Don't kill her. Got it. With a cruel grin, the clones are off to harass the insect summoner, already bleeding and burnt a bit. Suzumabachi watches as the real Naruto runs off after Kuratsuchi, trying to well up chakra in order to summon a new insect in order to stop him. She's interrupted by several kunai headed her way. Aborting her technique and hopping quickly from tree to tree, she's forced on the defensive. You fakes can't hope to stop me, you know that. A gentle hand is placed on her back, accompanied by a voice that sends a shiver down her spine. You picked the wrong night to fuck with me, bitch. Another explosion sends Suzumabachi hurtling through the air in an uncontrolled arc. While another clone has finished making seals. Futon, de Tapa. Inhaling a great breath, it releases all of its chakra into the technique. Said Great Wind connects, sending the woman down into the dirt to bounce harshly with an accompanying crack of broken bones. Mercifully, Suzumabachi was unconscious by the time she hit the ground, but she'd be in for a world of hurt when she awoke. A clone came down to slap a seal on her forehead, beginning to drag her back to the bathhouse. The clones had no sympathy for the woman who had interrupted them, and were taking bets on if any of the girls would rip her apart or not when they got back to the bathhouse. Naruto himself had caught up with Kuratsuchi, watching as she was defending herself from the dozen clones very well. He couldn't say she wasn't skilled at the least. Using several earth techniques to defend against explosions, while fire and ash techniques were used with great effect to destroy clones. Down to now 4 of them, he makes a new dozen and sends them off. Kuratsuchi was frowning as the new wave of clones came rushing in. Is this all you got? Stomping her foot and applying chakra, none of them were prepared for a wall of literal lava to come up and destroy 6 of them at once. I'll burn you and everything you've ever wanted to the ground at this rate, you fake. Naruto twitches but just makes more clones, keeping the total number of clones to a dozen. You saw that, but you can't even find the real me. Watching the short-haired woman dodge wind attacks and exploding clones, he didn't want this to turn into a war of attrition. He would most likely win that, but at the cost of pissing off his girls. That wasn't allowed. Just 'cause you're a coward who hides from a real fight. I'll have you beaten and I'll drag you back to Iwa for study in no time. Another short burst of fiery ash incinerated 3 clones at once, before she was forced to backflip away from an axe kick from a different clone. This one met its end to an earth spike. She was getting dangerously low on chakra here. No clue why you have a flee on sight order. Grandpa must be getting senile in his old age. Ah, so that Tsuchiki's granddaughter came for him. That complicated things a tad. He couldn't kill her. But he could certainly kick the shit out of her. You know, now that I know for sure you're from Iwa, I think I'm going to have to continue the family tradition. Oh yeah? Destroying yet another clone, the panting woman grimaced. What's that? Bitching out? Welling up chakra and applying some to his eye, Naruto prepared to leap towards the woman and held out a hand, slaughtering enough Iwa-nin to burn a generational hole in your collective psyche. Dad did it. Guess it's my turn. With Kurama's gentle coaxing and blood leaking from his eye, Naruto felt out for the connection and then pulled. Bancho Tenin. Leaping towards the woman who was suddenly pulled off of her feet towards him, Naruto grins as his eyes shine. What? Caught completely off guard, she's unable to mount a defense against the large sword that swung like a bat to connect with her broadside to send her flying into a thick redwood tree. Bouncing off with a groan and most assuredly a broken collarbone, she's caught again by a clone wielding explosive seals. Bounced around the forest a few more times, she's eventually allowed to drop to the dirt. Covered in soot, bleeding and breathing harshly, the real Naruto walks up to her calmly, eyes shining in the dark and a manic grin on his face. Oh, you have no idea how badly you fucked up. Here he leaned in close, sword piercing the ground next to her neck, but you'll learn. Oh yeah, you'll learn. It was hard to rein in his emotions when combined with Kurama's chakra as he was. This woman had threatened his wives. He wanted nothing else than to rip her apart. That could wait, however. Some revenge was best left to stew and marinate for a bit. Danzo was learning that lesson as well. Placing a suppression seal on the woman and standing to his full height, he rests his sword on his shoulder as several hot water ninja drop into the woods around them. Took you all long enough. The lead ninja, an older man looking to be in his 40s, stepped forward to bow to Naruto quickly. My apologies, we've already gotten an update both from the bathhouse you're taking residence in and the clone you had with that other intruder. We'll take over from here. Do you have any requests or information to share? Naruto nods, sealing away his sword and thrusting his hands in his pockets in frustration. They're from Iwa. Apparently they were specifically after me. Naruto looks down at the battered kunoichi. The seal on her forehead is a suppression seal. She'll stay asleep as long as that seal is on her. Take it off and she'll wake up at most within an hour. The man nods, motioning to one of his subordinates to pick her up and carry her away. You have my word they will be punished accordingly and sent back to Iwa. Naruto nods, this one is apparently related to their Kage, keep that in mind. The man tenses slightly but nods all the same. Thank you, we'll take precautions then. Great, this was going to be a political nightmare later. By your leave then, one who sees truth. Getting a nod from Naruto, the squad of ninja are gone silently into the night. Naruto himself shakes his head, man they move quietly. Guess it makes sense in a country like this. Taking a deep and steadying breath before releasing it slowly, he let his chakra circulation return to normal. Man, that burns. Kurama nodded from within the seal. You're still having to force it, so it's going to hurt. It isn't complete yet. Still, it's helpful in a pinch. Yeah, but only in an emergency. Don't rush this. You could damage it early and then really be shit out of luck. Thanks for the tip, I'll try to stick to everything else in my arsenal. The real kicker for Naruto had been that he couldn't kill her. He was trying to gain legitimacy here, and killing a family member to another Kage would probably be frowned on. Especially spouting off that he wanted peace. Taking to the trees and making his way back to the bathhouse, Naruto could already tell that the barrier was down around the suite. It's a few minutes before he's back through the window and sighing with relief seeing all the girls, while only in their robes, at least they were armed. Yugo and the Fuma girls were completely dressed and armed, though they relaxed when he showed back up. Hey everyone. Yugo bowed. Lord Naruto, it's great to see you returned safely. Naruto nods, walking inside to collapse into a chair in front of everyone. Yeah. That chick from my wa wasn't bad. But they're headed back to their village now, and I have some leverage to use against the Tsuchikage in the future. Hinata and Karen were at his side, Hinata running a glowing green hand over his eye where she could see blood, while Karen was running another glowing hand over the rest of him on his right. Hinata was frowning. You were a bit reckless. Karen nodded. He's uninjured otherwise. Naruto sighed. I could have told you that. Tayuya gave him the finger. We have to make sure for ourselves, so just put up with it, Whiskers. Kotoheim stood and thanked Yugo. We have him from here. Go on and get some rest. Yugo seemed to want to go against that order. My lady, our duty is to protect you. This area has been compromised. Kotoheim shook her head while pointing a finger towards the roof. Can't you feel them? Hot water ninja are now patrolling the area. We're safe for tonight. Go and get your rest. Kotoheim winked at her sister. This is still our vacation. Naruto groans and rubs a shoulder. Go on Yugo, we're good here, and even with the hot water ninja, I have clones seated everywhere now, we're good. Yugo bowed deeply. By your leave then, Lady Kotoheim, Lord Naruto. The Yugo group turned and left, relieved looks on their faces as no one was severely injured. Naruto's own injury seeming to be self-inflicted. That left Naruto alone with several frustrated women. Sorry girls, I know tonight was supposed to be special and dash. He's silenced as Hinata leans over and places a soft finger to his lips. Worry not, beloved. Let us take care of you. We can always continue tomorrow. We're here for several days, correct? Naruto nods, then all is well. Tayuya sighed and nods, not so secretly very relieved that Naruto was okay. Come on, let's get your ass back to bed and we'll pamper you for a while. She couldn't speak for the others, but she certainly wasn't in the mood at the moment. All she wanted to do now was make sure with her own hands that he was fine, and then bed. Sleep wouldn't come easy to anyone that night, but eventually sleep they did. Scene change, a new day dawns on the misty bathhouse high in the mountains. Unable to sleep and unlike the exhausted girls, Naruto decides to take a walk among the grounds. Only a little sore, the robe-clad ninja rolls his shoulder to work out some knots. Maybe he could convince Hinata to give him a massage later. Finding himself on a trail that led a bit more up the mountain, Naruto eventually finds a quiet lookout point that gazes out over the bathhouse itself. Watching quietly as the sun slowly rose over the horizon, Naruto could admit that the view was amazing. The early morning yellows and oranges, reflecting off the misty landscape, was a sight to behold. Too bad he wasn't much of an artist, this would be a great picture to sketch out. From behind him, there's a gentle cough, and Naruto turns back to see a tall darker-skinned man standing there with a grin on his face. Mornin' yo. Naruto chuckled, mornin' yo. He watched as his visitor joined him in watching the sunrise, though Kurama's voice echoed in his head. Careful brat, he's a container. Got it. It's a beautiful morning out, isn't it? Naruto decided to enjoy the peace while he could. He'd figure out why another container had found him eventually. So is every morning where we aren't in mourning. You dig? Naruto nods, this side of the dirt where life reminds us things can hurt? B grinned brightly, you get it young dude, you've got the right attitude. Naruto shakes his head, I can never seem to attract normal people, huh? B waved him off, normal is for normal people, yo. B pointed directly at him, for men like you and me Mr. Nine? The chaos is our lifeblood. Naruto sighs, so what's this all about then? Here he turns to the man fully, I'm sure you know about last night, so no, I'm no pushover here. The older ninja nods, grin still in place, you and me gonna have it out, no doubt, but today ain't that day, so pray. Here his demeanor changes, everything about him less cheerful. I'll get to the point, obviously I know you hold the QB. My village wants you for themselves. Naruto shrugged, first, his name is Kurama, get it right. Second, get in line, I've got my own city to worry about. The older ninja surprises Naruto by nodding and turning to look back out over the forested countryside. I get it. Really I do. Honestly, I don't want to confront you at all. I'm doing the bare minimum here, so I can honestly say I attempted the mission. Be warned though, little bro, more people are going to come for you, my village on that list still. Which means you might have to face off against us at least once. Naruto sighed, realizing what the older ninja was trying to tell him without using words. Got it. I'd rather we could find some common ground, as friends you know? I'd like the same. But for us Jinchuriki, life isn't so simple, right? Ain't that the truth? There's silence for some time, both men enjoying the temporary peace they could enjoy for the moment. B, however, does rub the back of his head as he feels a bit embarrassed, Also, sorry about last time. Walked in on ya at the last resort. Naruto was more than a little confused about that, but chuckled, so you were at the door last time. Forgot to put up a silencing seal last time. He had been in a hurry. They all had been. Don't sweat about it. Sure. B's attention is drawn to two women walking up the winding pathway. I believe some of your group are coming to find you. Naruto nods, that'd be Tayuya and Ino. Great girls, strong. Loving. Naruto sighs again, holding out a hand to the ninja, I really do hope we can find a peaceful solution for this. B hand is firm as they shake once, before parting. I hope for one as well, little bro. Saluting the smaller ninja as Naruto turns and jogs away to catch the girls and head back, B himself decides playtime was over. It was time to gather up the teams and head back to Kumo. He had a report to file. Behind him Naruto grins as the smiling faces of Ino and Tayuya greet him. Hey Whiskers, time for breakfast. Tayuya is quick to latch onto his left arm and start pulling him back down the trail. Ino nods, taking his other arm, plus, now that we're all awake, we were thinking of maybe breaking in the personal tub. Naruto smiles and tosses all the political nonsense out of his mind for now. Anything for you girls. This week was for them, no one else. Chapter 42. A month was a long time, Naruto decided. At the least, a month was a long time when one was constantly busy. They had enjoyed their vacation, thoroughly, but had put their noses to the grindstone ever since they had returned to their ever-growing city. Today found him in his office entertaining a guest of sorts. Behind him at his shoulders stood Tayuya and Niji, who had a long wrapped bundle on his back. Both were to be his guards for today, and both were paying close attention to their single visitor from Kiri. On the other side of his desk stood a man who introduced himself as Ao, hailing from Kirigakure and on a mission from the Mizukichi herself. Ao had first ended up in Wave, and had been directed to Naruto by Tsunami, having been given updated orders from the team regarding anyone from Elusive Village. Naruto wanted this meeting as it could speed up their eventual announcement of their village's revival. So here they were, Naruto having asked just why Ao had come to their village, while the older man explained his mission. My duty is to forward my Kage's desire to meet with you. She's heard rumors of the infamous Maelstrom and the Uzumaki clan village. Ao made a show of looking around the office and out of the large windows behind them. We never would have imagined this city that has grown on the bones of the previous Uzumaki clan. Ao locked eyes with Naruto himself. It takes a strong man to make such a thing come to life. Naruto nods in a relaxed manner. Of all of the remaining villages I haven't had a chance to speak with yet, Kiri was next on my list. Do you have an idea of when your Kage would be able to meet with me? I'm sure they would love to see the village for themselves. It was only polite, plus it would be the first real outsider that would have the chance to see the city in all its glory. 2 weeks will be enough time. We've been clearing our schedule to allow for such a meeting. Ao wouldn't bring up that May had become rather desperate to meet with the other leader. That might make negotiations odd later on. Pulling a calendar book from his desk, Naruto rifles through it a bit before he comes to the upcoming weeks. Seeing nothing major announced or planned, Naruto turns to Tayuya, make sure we don't schedule anything for that week, it's already clear. Tayuya bows lightly, yes, Yuzukichi-sama. I'll pass the message along to the staff. Inwardly she smirked as she just knew it ruffled Naruto a bit to be addressed as such. Well, unless it was in the bedroom. Karen and Kotoheim had an odd talent for it. Getting the response he needed, Naruto turned back to the waiting Kiri ninja. Do you need accommodations? I'm sure it was a long journey. We can put you up for a time. Ao raised a hand slowly while shaking his head, wary of the sharp-eyed teen at Naruto's shoulder. I wasn't meant to stay, so I'll be returning to Kiri immediately. I appreciate the thought. Ao internally was curious, however. How did a Hyuga end up all the way out here? Or was there another clan that bore their vaulted eyes? Then I wish you well, Ao. My ninja will escort you back to Wave. Naruto watches as Ao takes the dismissal and bows again, before turning to leave. Opening the door, he is met by a pair of ninja from the Chinoite clan, who both nod to Niji before escorting Ao out. Releasing a deep breath, Naruto sagged a bit in his seat, able to relax with the two who knew him personally at the least. Man, at least that went well, and we have an in with Kiri. Tayuya was quick to relax, a hand on her hip as she shifted her weight a bit. Yeah, too bad they sent someone so old-fashioned and uptight though. Guy was a real man's man. Niji nods. They probably sent someone who could handle themselves on the off chance something went wrong. You could tell he's from their more bloody period. Yeah, he felt more like someone fit for the battlefield than a messenger. We'll need to make plans to entertain our guests for a few days at the least. Let's make use of that condo we used as a diplomat home while they are here. It is Niji who bows this time. I'll make sure General Affairs is notified. The Hataru clan had quickly focused themselves as more of an in-border force than anything else. They weren't quite a police force yet, but it was telling that the populace was beginning to trust them as such so quickly. The Chinoike were happy about it. The previously reclusive clan was all too eager to take missions abroad. Everyone looks up as the door opens again, a smiling Karen walking in calmly. Whirlpool forehead protector proudly in place, she stops just at the end of his desk. I have a request. Is it for time off? 'Cause I'll approve that in a heartbeat. Naruto still couldn't get the girl to slow down much. She worked just as much as he did sometimes. Her research had of course borne some major fruit, but he still wished she would relax. He'd have to smack some loving sense into her later. Karen however grins. My water scout golem have been pinging odd signals towards the north, in the disputed area close to Lightning Country. I'd like to go and take a look. And before you ask, I've already had Isaribi go out and check for herself too. There aren't any ninja, but even she could tell something odd was going on around the volcanic island. Sighing, Naruto's hopes were dashed. But this gave him a chance to force her to relax. How long do you plan to be gone? Shrugging, the redhead thought about it for a second. 2 days tops. Traveling there doesn't take long. I'm going to take an Egi. Naruto shuddered at the thought of that thing being used as transport. He had learned to hate anything vaguely snake-like. Damn Orochimaru. Alright. You know the rules though, when you get back it's a mandatory 2 days off. Here his eyes harden a bit as he looks at her. First sign of things going wrong or trouble, you either hightail it out of there or you summon me. Got it? I can't send Yugo, or the Fuma girls with you, 'cause they're gone with Ino, to Konoha. He was sure Ino was just having a blast right now, probably equal parts messing with Shikamaru and running Tsunade ragged. Karen is still grinning. Between my seals and my golem, I think I'll be just fine. Here her grin softens into a more genuine smile, but I promise. First sign of trouble and I'll activate my seal and call you. Honest. She knew he worried, so she would ease him as she could. Fine. Go on then, 2 days. If I don't hear from you in 2 days, I'm coming for you anyway. Naruto grins as Karen nods quickly and retreats out of the door with a bounce in her step. Left with no distractions from his paperwork, Naruto sets about it while complaining. It really sucks sometimes being stuck in the office. Even if it's just half a day. Tayuya shakes her head. Aren't you constantly doing something? Like right now, don't you have your gravity seals on? Besides the point. Naruto looks back at Niji as he adjusts his bag. How's the new weapon working out? The Hataru adjusting to it alright? Do y'all like it? It is a brutal piece of equipment. It still needs a little refinement, but it does its job very well. Smiling as he thought about some of the recent tests with the spring engineers, our eyes are well suited for it. Good, and remember, this first generation are test types. Make sure to let the spring engineers know ASAP if you find problems or have ideas for improvements. Getting a promise from Niji that he would do just that, Naruto looks up as his door opens yet again. Happy for the distraction, he watches as a new team from the Chinoike walk in. He plasters a smile on his face and settles in for a busy morning. Maybe he and Tayuya could get something good for lunch later. Scene change. Nestled somewhat safely within Konoha in the Land of Fire, Ino is settling into her visitor hotel suite while Yugo and the Fuma girls set about checking things over and unpacking bags. By some stroke of luck, Temari was visiting Konoha at the same time and decided to visit her, though she had her own plans to enact that had nothing to do with Konoha. Seated at a couch while Temari sits in a chair off to the side, said older girl is grinning, "Oh come now, you know I can be a lot of fun." Ino rolls her eyes, That might work on Naruto, but us girls of Foxden are very selective. What do you bring to the table that we don't already? She wasn't being petty, but all of them loved Naruto deeply. That meant, any other girl looking for a taste needed to at least have feelings for him as well. While they all knew Temari was attracted to Naruto, feelings were a different matter. Temari motioned a hand down her body, ninja girl with wonderful curves and a sharp mind? She knew she was hot. She also knew she was smarter than most and that Naruto valued strength and brains in equal measure, which was a major point in his favor. She wasn't pushing for this just because it would get under her brother's skins. She was genuinely attracted to the troublemaker, though she wasn't sure yet if it was more than that. Have a heart. Think he'd enjoy a romp with two sexy blondes? Ino knew for sure he would in fact enjoy such a thing. That didn't mean Temari got to join Foxden, yet. A roll in a sack doesn't mean you get to join the Denver. Temari nodded, I know, but hear me out. The sister of the Kazekage, who finds strong men insanely attractive. Think of the political alliance potential. Temari could see however that this line of thought wasn't working so much as she thought. So, she let her normal walls down a bit with the mind walker and sighed, how about, as a thank you for giving me my little brother back? Just once. That a tiny smirk etched its way onto Ino's face told her she might have opened up a bit too much. Damn mind walkers. Ino however nodded and said nothing about it, well we can talk more about it later. Because trust me, if I dragged Naruto here it probably wouldn't take much convincing if we both went on the attack. Ino looked up idly as Yugo posted himself on the balcony, watching the horizon calmly while Kin was walking out to join him. Sasami was sitting at the kitchen bar with a book, a new scroll holstered at the small of her back. Beyond that, what's the situation between Suna and Konoha? Leaning back with a sigh, the fan wielder idly played with her weapon that was leaning against her seat on the floor, frosty at best. Konoha knows why Suna was so desperate, but isn't making many moves to help the problem. We're getting more support from you in the Whirlpool Islands than here in the Land of Fire. They were already beginning to talk about potentially setting up another rail line between the villages. It would be the first between major villages, if Uzushio came out as one in the future. Ino sighed, wish we could help in some way. Maybe if we could find and bring in Orochimaru's head? I think a lot of people want that man's head on a pike. Temari wouldn't say she was bitter about her father's death. The man had done horrible things to her younger brother and treated her and Kankuro more like tools than children. But he was still their father. Some part of her still wanted blood. If you ever get wind of him and need a hand, feel free to call us. Ino nods, trust Naruto, if he needs a hand with that snake, Gaara will definitely get a message. Thinking about it, Sasuke and Sakura might get a warning as well, the Sannin having tried to capture and taint the Uchiha once upon a time. Looking back at the tense Sasami, Ino sighed, Sasami, you can relax a little. Konoha isn't about to send assassins after us or anything. At least not with her. Her father would certainly do a bit more than just raise a stink if something happened to her within Konoha's borders. Sasami was shaking her head in the negative, no can do Lady Ino. No Naruto, or the rest of the group means we've decided to be more alert. We want to stay as ready as possible. Punctuated by her statement is a knock at the door. Standing abruptly, the girl is already walking towards it. Behind her, the balcony door opens, and Kin and Yugo are walking inside to stand behind the couch at Ino's shoulders. Ino sighed, wondering if this was how Naruto felt about the overprotective group. Sasami is quick to open the door after checking the peephole. Waiting on the other side are Tsunade, Shizune and Hayashi, who is as stern-faced as ever. Said man's mood does not improve as he spots Ino instead of the head Uzumaki. Sasami bows to the three, welcome, please, right this way. Escorting them inside to the couch opposite to Ino within the room, Sasami leaves once they are seated to prepare tea and snacks. Tamari decides it might be best to wander off and wait, taking her fan with a wink to Ino and making for the balcony. She'd hang out and read a book while she waited for her fellow blonde to be done. Tsunade grins as she gets comfortable on the couch. I hope your trip was easy enough. Ino nods, easy enough for a ninja, can't wait for our next project to be done so we can travel a bit more in style. She had heard a bit about the airships. She wondered how that would work for villages that didn't use them. A question she'd have to bring up with Koyuki and Naruto later. Sasami was offering tea to the visitors after placing a tray of snacks on the coffee table. Tsunade and Shizune accepted with no problems, though Hayashi held up a hand, refusing as his mind was focused only on one task. To get things rolling, I would like to start. Knowing it was coming and doing her best not to sigh heavily, Ino nods. Of course, what would you like to begin with, Lord Hyuga? Hayashi frowned. I'd like to lodge a formal complaint with the Uzumaki clan head. Okay. That's unfortunate, but I can forward any complaints you have. Taking a moment to unseal a scroll and a pen, Ino focused completely on the Hyuga clan head. Please, tell me your grievances. Hayashi nods. It is a matter concerning both vandalism of private property and theft. Ino jots that down before smiling sweetly. I need more specifics, however. This is fairly loose. First, what was supposedly stolen? Technique and reference scrolls. Hayashi couldn't come out and say verbatim that it was Uzumaki property that was stolen, though that was all that was missing. That was a one-way ticket to a new meeting with the daimyo. He was sure the brat didn't know what he had actually taken. Again writing that down, Ino's smile doesn't leave her face, still rather vague, but I'll look into it and bring this to Naruto's attention. Not that she and everyone else didn't already know that they hadn't taken anything other than Uzumaki property. And what was it specifically that was vandalized? In what manner was your property damaged? Now it was time for the fun part. It takes some real effort to fight down the blush that threatened to break on his face. My desk and office suffered damage. What sort of damage was it? Ino was fighting hard to prevent the giggles that wanted to burst from her lips. It was hard work. Nearly impossible. But she managed it. It was broken beyond repair. Is that not enough? Not really. Anyone could have broken your desk. What makes you so sure that it was an Uzumaki? Hayashi finally loses his patience, hand slapping down on the table and making it rattle. Everyone pauses as Sasami reacts harshly to this, scroll at the small of her back unrolled and a weapon bursting into life. A long and wicked-looking Kusarigama with its chain floating ominously behind her was in her possession. Her eyes were locked onto Hayashi, who watched her with some concern. Ino herself sighs and shakes her head. Sasami, Hayashi just has a bit of a temper, there is no threat. Sasami takes but another few breaths before her weapon is sealed away again and she bows deeply to Ino. Without a word, she turns and removes herself to the kitchen once more. It is a suddenly sweetly smiling Ino who turns back to the Hyuga clan head. Please limit your outburst, Lord Hyuga. My guard team is very jumpy. Hayashi sniffs and makes as if he hadn't been concerned about the unknown woman with the weapon with the bladed chain. I'll keep that in mind. Taking a breath, he starts again from where he left off, anger still present in his voice though he kept his hands fisted in his lap. That boy Naruto and my daughter fornicated on my desk, soiled it thoroughly, and left behind a pile of half-eaten cinnamon rolls as a calling card. Breathing heavily, he missed Tsunade and Shizune fighting hard with their own giggles. I had to burn everything. The smell just wouldn't leave my office even after multiple cleanings. It of course wasn't until after the fact when his rage had faded that he realized he should have saved some of the dot emissions. Several people would pay very good money for Uzumaki DNA. Ino, however, just makes notes in her scroll, doing her best to give off a professional aloof demeanor. Right. Was there anything else? Oh, she was so giving Naruto and Hinata a hug and a kiss for this one. Seeing Hayashi blow his top was completely worth it. Never mind the face he made when he nearly pissed himself thanks to Sasami. She'd be thanking the girl for that later. Hayashi wants to bring up the missing Hyuga branch family, his gut telling him they were with the Uzumaki as well. That, however, he couldn't prove without a shadow of a doubt. Everyone in the village was of the mind that the branch family had finally had enough and had up and left. Not many suspected foul play with how the main family treated the branch. Instead, he calmed himself and chose a different route. In the interest of being good allies, I'd like to request that if the Uzumaki run into any of our runaway clansmen, that they will either give Konoha word of their location or capture them for us instead and return them. There will be a reward for such activities. Everyone was willing to bend morals for money. Hayashi was hopeful Naruto could be persuaded as such. Making another note in her scroll and knowing Uzushio would never part with the Hataru clan, she continues to smile sweetly. If we do run into any of the runaway Hyuga, Konoha will know of it. Too bad they were the Hataru now. Uzushio wouldn't have to lie, at least they hadn't run into any Hyuga. Bowing lightly, Hayashi settles himself that at least he got something concrete that will suffice for now. Rolling her eyes, Tsunade extends a hand to the younger girl. With that out of the way, do the Uzumaki need anything to get the ball rolling towards a more peaceful relationship? Ino made a show of thinking about that for a bit, scroll and pen sealed away with a practiced motion. Well, Konoha, beginning to make payments towards the Uzumaki would help that a lot. Tsunade chuckles weakly. Both the council and the daimyo will be pitching in to do just that and pay off the debt. No worries there. For once she was glad it wasn't her facing debt collectors. Great. Well, other than that, as far as the Uzumaki are concerned, our relationship is stable with the Leaf. We're allies, in so much that if Konoha is threatened, we will send help and aid. Ino, however, relaxes back into the couch. We aren't, however, at Konoha's beck and call. We are our own clan and people, not yours. Tsunade nods. Of course we wouldn't expect that. Now, about bridging our gap a bit more. The Uzumaki are great with seals and the meeting would continue for a bit from there, Ino going back and forth with the Hokage for a long while. At least she had information that would send Naruto and Hinata into fits later. Scene change. Naruto had decided after spending yesterday in the office and sending Karen off to parts unknown, he would spend today on official business that took him out from behind the desk. So, today found him on the next island project. Touring high fortified walls with Tazuna, the older man was leading him along on a tour of the slowly growing ninja fortress. All around them work crews and clones were bustling back and forth, hurrying to move the construction along. The very earth seemed to rumble. Tazuna is all grins as they walk. The high stonework wall they were on gave a great view of the sea, while the wide walkway could support several people walking abreast. We've made the walls much thicker than before to accommodate the new experimental armaments the engineers from Spring are coming up with. We'll begin installations once your clones finish treating the walls with their seals. Tazuna looks around and waves a hand out. Most of the walls are complete, so we're turning our attention to the main central building. The walls formed an octagonal design, while the main building was the metaphorical ninth point. Every now and then everyone liked to consider 9 as their lucky number as a tribute both to Naruto and to Kurama. At least, those in the know, who Tazuna was a part of. It won't be long until the main building is complete, but we do still have a ton of work to do. He directed Naruto's gaze above them, where the center building stretched another 30 meters at least. I plan on 4 airship landing platforms. The roof is a cleared space that also has space for more of the experimental cannons. Tazuna shook his head. Apparently Naruto's love of explosives had carried over to the Spring engineers. It was terrifying what they had been planning out. Naruto again felt the ground under them rumble. I'm guessing you connected a train on this loop already? Tazuna shook his head. Not a full train, no. We've set up trolley cars instead, since this is mainly just for ninja. This line is for transportation between the main island and the fortress island, so no civilian traffic was considered. They were already sectioning things off, so it was only accessible by ninja in the future. There would be no accidental civilian activity here. Or outsiders. Naruto nods and grins. Good. It's mainly going to be a reserve force and active members here on a rotation. A clan or two might want to inhabit the fortress full-time, but I'm going to stress that I'd rather them occupy the city full-time or at least the main island full-time. Puzzled, Tazuna turns to the boy as they pause at a stone bridge leading to the center building. Why's that? Well, the main island needs to be defended, yes, but ninja do need their own space. The fortress would give them that while still giving them access to their homes at the end of the day. Plus, he wanted his ninja to always keep sight of just who and what they were protecting. Tazuna grins. Good idea, of course that's your area of expertise. Also, in case you've wondered at the screaming back at the tower, we've installed a landing platform on the observation deck of the Uzumaki Tower. We still have a lot of time before any testing will be done, but I thought it best to get it out of the way. He had personally seen to it that it was finished quickly, wanting it to be out of the way and done so he could focus completely on the work here. By the time the first airship floats in, we should be ready to bring Uzushio onto the world stage. Naruto takes a deep cleansing breath as they begin walking over the long connecting bridge. The air was so crisp and clean here, the island not much more than rocky terrain and sturdy pine forests. The fortress was easily the tallest structure by far, offering views of the entire small island. The sun is beginning to set and Naruto begins to think about ending his day, a bath and dinner sounding perfect right about now. Tazuna looks out over the sea as well, pointing towards the main island of Uzushio. Eventually, I'd like to connect all of the islands via tunnels and/or bridges. We might as well use all of the land that we have. Naruto can agree with that as well. When this project is finished, I'll set about getting on that. It might be a good idea to set up several outposts so Naruto pauses as a tingle works its way from a seal on his chest. One of the girls was in danger. His demeanor instantly changes as he unseals his sword and searches for who exactly is calling him. I've gotta go, someone's calling me, I'll send a clone if it's serious, alright? Seeing Tazuna nod, he focuses and locks onto the signal. So Karen's marker was active. With a thought, he was gone. In the next breath, Naruto is half kneeling while his sword is resting on his shoulder, ready to swing. Eyes searching the cavernous space he found himself in, he could see Karen on the ground, hands splayed out while her chains were attempting to hold back some type of monster. More a chimera now that he watched it for a moment, multiple animal traits seemed to be present in it. Another breath, and he noticed another red-haired woman next to Karen, sweating and obviously very tired. Another breath and he was next to Karen while several clones burst into existence. What's going on? Naruto unseals a V3 bomb scroll and tosses it to a clone, which immediately jumps to the ceiling and anchors itself with chakra. The remaining clones are holding up their hands to the chain barrier, adding chakra to it as he has yet to be able to use the fabled ceiling chains. Karen shakes her head, sweat beginning to pour down her forehead. Short version. Weird signals were coming from another Uzumaki using her ceiling chains. This lab is making summoning creatures with the goal of creating the ultimate beast. She grit her teeth and motioned to their opponent. Big and Gruesome here went nuts and started eating the research team. Anoka did her best, but was nearly out of chakra before I showed up. Naruto turns to the other Uzumaki and nods to her. Anyone else still here? The older Uzumaki shook her head quickly. No one was spared. She had so many questions and no time for answers. Why she had cried out for help, grieving that she would never find her family, she hadn't expecting one to literally drop through the ceiling. Naruto grins and reseals his sword. Good, I only have to worry about a Uzumaki then. He walks forward to place a hand on each of the girls' shoulders. Let's get the hell out of here. Anoka was confused. Who are you? How are you going to save us? Karen just sighed and removed her hands from the barrier. Naruto's clone's able to hold it up for a few precious seconds. Hope you don't get motion sickness. What? Then they were gone, the false summoned beast finally released and lashing out at their previous location but coming up empty. The clone tasked with the scroll frowned, actually feeling pity for this thing. It began to feed chakra into the scroll. Sorry big guy. I know you didn't ask to be born into this world, but the least I can do is take you out of it quickly and painlessly. Drawing the creature's attention with a sad smile, the clone drops the scroll and watches it flip through the air with an ominous glow. May your next life know peace. And then there was light. Dropping to the ground just outside of the Uzumaki shrine, Naruto and the Uzumaki girls are left in a heap. Naruto is the first up, helping Karen to her feet first, before holding out a hand to Anoka. She looks at him warily for a moment, before taking in his cheery grin. Rolling her eyes with a heavy sigh, she takes the offered hand and lets him help her up. They all feel the tremors in the ground a moment later, but Naruto isn't worried at all. The populace was pretty used to his antics by now and would most likely attribute them to him. He does, however, create a clone quickly which dispels in order to let the others know he has returned and to share the information. Finally settled and knowing things were safe, Naruto turns and hugs Karen tightly, happy that she listened to him. Kami, I'm glad you're alright. Karen nodded as she returned the embrace. She wouldn't admit just how close it had been, that would only worry him more. So for the moment she would enjoy his warmth and love. Pushing away after a minute with a blush on her face, the young woman however motions to the older Uzumaki standing off to the side awkwardly. Well like I said, this is Anoka. Said woman, Anoka, bowed deeply to Naruto. She was dressed in a blue and gray hakama with yellow trim and blue pants. She was barefoot, with a white hairband holding her bangs out of her face. Thank you. Without your intervention I surely would have perished back there. Here she looks around slowly, gaze wandering to the very clear Uzumaki-built shrine near them. Who are you? Where are we? Naruto bows as well. Naruto Uzumaki at your service, and this. Naruto motions behind her, pointing towards the city, is the rebuild Uzushio. Anoka freezes as she catches sight of the massive buildings, and even taller tower at the center of it all. This wasn't the ruined landscape she had seen as a child, sent adrift by one of the elders in a fishing boat in the hope she could make it out alive. She had, alone. This. It's impossible. Naruto had Karen by the waist, walking down the road towards the city center. Follow us, and I'll explain. Seeing Anoka do just that, Naruto smiles. I'm actually originally from Konoha. But because of how I was treated, I decided to strike out on my own. Anoka racks her brain as she thinks about that village. Were there Uzumaki in Konoha? Wait, Mito was there, wasn't someone else sent? Do you know Big Sis Kushina? Naruto nods hesitantly, not so much know her as know of her. He turns to her with a more emotional smile. She was my mom. She died when I was born. Sorry, Naruto. Not your fault, Kurama, we've been over this. Still sorry. That means. Anoka is quick to bow deeply to the boy. You were are of the main line then. My mother told me stories of the Uzumaki royal family. That Kushina left to provide a great honor to Konoha, to seal the Kyubi. To think I would even meet more Uzumaki, and royals at that. Having a royal Uzumaki male is a great boon to the family. She, like a few others she had met along the way, had dreamed of a day the Uzumaki could reunite and rebuild their home and clan. This was an actual chance for them. Karen waves a hand dismissively. I'm not royal blood, just him, not that you'd know it with the way he acts. Naruto resists the urge to swat her butt. I'll remember that. By her shiver, he knew he'd have an opportunity to get her back later. But yeah, I'm not big on the titles and whatnot. My goal right now is to unite as many of the remaining Uzumaki that I can find and rebuild however we can. Karen giggles as she leans into him a bit more as they're passing further into the city proper. You're certainly working on the rebuild part of that. Failing to fight down a blush, Naruto motions to the main square and the tower they're reaching the base of. Once more, Anoka, welcome to Uzushio. The tower doubles as the Uzumaki clan compound on the upper floors. We have extra rooms. Hopeful that we would find more family members. You're welcome to stay with us if you wish. Or we can find a condo or apartment for you if you'd prefer to ease into it. He was trying hard not to gush over the woman while also trying to make her feel welcome. They've paused their walk as they've come before the Uzumaki monument, the obsidian construct drawing Anoka's attention for a bit. Anoka isn't quite sure what emotion to settle on. Overwhelmed by all of the people, the majesty of the city around her, and now, the monument and its message for the future. She doesn't stop the tears that slide down her cheeks. Finally letting reality wash over her. It's real. Our home. It's alive again. Turning, she pulls the stronger and taller boy into a tight hug, letting out nearly 2 decades of stress and anguish. She's grateful that no one seems to worry or bother them, and more so when the Uzumaki clan head embraces her in return. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe, comforted. Naruto doesn't do anything else other than hold the woman tightly, a soft smile on his face while Karen watches with tears in her own eyes. You're home, Anoka. None of us are alone anymore. And as long as he drew breath, they wouldn't be ever again. That was a promise. Believe it. Omake, high in a tower in rain, Konan is standing across from Nagato and giving a report about the rumored Uzumaki village. She explains about their hopes for a more stable peace, not the fantasy that the current villages seem to want to maintain. Nagato remains quiet and calm through it all, again working through his Yahiko body, not his own. This means Uzushio will have to go public soon. Which when they do will allow us to observe them more closely. A hand comes up to his chin as he thinks it over. It's one thing to spout off about peace, but another to actually follow through. Nagato does have his own concern, however. If there was a chance someone was building a peaceful nation, that could mean there was a chance a group like Akatsuki wasn't actually needed in the future. Did that mean his belief was wrong? Was his mission false? Had he of all people taken the wrong path? Across from him Konan watches her long-time friend quietly, hoping that maybe in a small way this nudges him even a small amount back towards the light. He had been in a dark place for so long. Maybe seeing his supposed clansmen resurging and making a new life for themselves could bring him hope. Something none of them had had for a long time. Nagato subtly shakes himself, deciding that there was no need to rush or make decisions now. He would be patient and observe. He knew without a doubt this world was rotten. All of Akatsuki knew that. But if there was a chance things were healing without them interfering, well, he wasn't above joining forces with those looking for peace. Alert the others, for now we shall instead move towards mainly bounty hunting and information gathering on the various Biju containers. But no collection as of yet. Conan bows deeply, "Your will be done." Standing and turning away to find the others, Conan smiles tightly. Maybe there was some real hope for her friend yet. Small though it may be. Chapter 43. A few days have passed since Onoka had been saved and brought back to Uzushio. Life continued on and the general populace had been forming their own opinions of the Uzumaki family. That a new member had been rescued and it was a woman meant that the possibility of children and heirs may be more likely. Just like the normal populace, however, the Uzumaki gang was also curious about the newest addition, chatting and relaxing together in the bath. Freshly returned to Uzushio, Ino is a happy camper as she's caught up on everything that's happened in the few days that she's been gone. Yugo, Kin, and Sasami had retired early, or at least that was what they said. Well, I think it's great we've got a new member of the family. Another pair of eyes to help keep Naruto from blowing himself up. Ino's hands were locked with Tayuya's, who was grinning and grunting with exertion. You said it. Having another Uzumaki woman here is nothing but a good thing. Tayuya had been training non-stop in the hopes that she could overpower Ino when she returned. They were more evenly matched than she liked. Hinata turns to Naruto, from where she is relaxing with her hair done up in a bun. It had been getting longer recently. How are you feeling about it, Naruto? Naruto is still all smiles, Koyuki on one side of him while Kotohime is on the other. I'm pretty excited about her. It's amazing that Karen found another member of our family. I had given up hope honestly. Koyuki nods. I wonder if maybe we should put out feelers, cast a wider net and try to find more lost Uzumaki. Maybe they would need to take a more active approach to this. If more members like Onoka were out there, could they be in danger as well? Kotohime chimes in with some reality on this situation. You have to remember though, in the outside world none of the Uzumaki are treated well. Most of the men that haven't been killed by now are probably being used in lab subjects. And the women? Breeders or worse. Tayuya nods from where she's finally gotten Ino into a headlock. Honestly, the fact that Karen found Onoka at all is a miracle. Though thinking on it, with the airship project, Karen might be able to search a wider area in the future, being such a good sensor. Tayuya eyes everyone else. Where is Karen anyway? Everyone turns as the mentioned girl chuckles from the doorway. I'm here. Had to nudge Onoka along was all. Karen was walking out, pushing a shy Onoka along towards the warm waters. Someone's being shy. Onoka herself is fighting down a blush. I just don't want to intrude. Karen shook her head as they reached the water's edge. Your family. This is what our family does, it's tradition. So saying, with a quick shove and grab of the towel, a naked Onoka is dunked into the warm waters. Karen grins and winks at Naruto as she slides into the water herself after tossing the extra towel into the group of others. Resurfacing with a sputter, Onoka turns a heated look to Karen. That wasn't very nice. Karen shrugs. You needed a push. We're all family here, whether by blood or marriage. No reason to be shy. Taking a moment to catch her breath, Onoka does look around and confirm that neither is anyone excessively staring at her, nor is Naruto ogling her either, currently chatting with Koyuki. Relaxing down to her shoulders, the older woman nods. I suppose you're correct. Karen nods resolutely. I know I am. Hinata is the first to float towards the older woman. Don't mind Karen, she means well enough. The shorter girl extends a hand. How are you adjusting to life in Uzushio? Do you need anything? Onoka shook her hand with a smile. It has been so overwhelming. I haven't been around so many people in a long time. But I'm happy all the same. I'm back home and with family. Onoka turns a cautious gaze towards Naruto. I have to ask, of course, will I be required to do anything while I'm here? Shuffling around to Hinata's side, Karen is shaking her head. No. You won't be required to do anything that you don't want to do. We all have our own interests. Karen points a well-manicured finger towards Naruto. Just take that idiot. He's the clan head sure, but he's really good about listening to everyone's wants and desires. He'll make sure you're well taken care of and want for nothing. Karen winked. He's really good about treating everyone equally. Turning to said young man, Anoka bows lightly to him, I want to thank you again. If not for Karen's and your intervention, well, I'd probably be dead right now. So thank you, for saving my life. Naruto turns to face her and smiles, your family. I'd fight literal demons if it was to protect you. Kotoheim pokes him in the cheek as the others all chuckle. This is how you keep getting yourself in trouble. What did I do? Be yourself. How's that a bad thing? You'll get it one day, my lord. Oh, not that again. Seeing Anoka blush a bit, Karen does take the initiative to sit the older woman down to explain a few things. Most of which at the moment center around Kurama, the bijou sealed in Naruto's gut. As Anoka gets caught up, Koyuki happily cuddles into Naruto's side again, you know, maybe I should just move here full time. Naruto nodded, I'm for it, though Sandayu would probably hate me for a while. Koyuki waves that thought away. If anything, he'd be happy. It'd get me out of the mansion more, and he'd looking forward to spoiling our future children. Children, plural? Do you really only want one from me? Here Koyuki leans close to his ear, am I so hideous? Naruto rolls his eyes and leans into her own ear, you dazzle me like all the stars on a clear night sky. Shall I demonstrate my resolve? Koyuki shuddered slightly, oh, please do. Kotoheim however reached over to poke the daimyo in the boob, not in the bath. Koyuki pouted, it's not like we all haven't thought about it. She looked around as everyone was suddenly very attentive to the conversation, we have, I'm not a pervert. Naruto chuckled, whatever you say, pervy daimyo. I'm not a pervert. Anoka nods along as Karen finishes catching her up to the latest Uzushio affairs and Naruto's burden. With a shrug, she accepts it all. Okay. How can I help out? I'm more into science and engineering. I have great seal knowledge for an Uzumaki, but I have a feeling yourself and Naruto outstrip me there. Karen's barrier had been much stronger than hers even if the girl was about 8 years her junior. Karen smiles at the woman's willingness to help out. Well, for science you can always join me with my projects. I work out of the basement where our more, off-the-books, work goes on. Naruto looks up, locking eyes with Anoka, we have teams of engineers from the land of spring who would love someone else's ideas besides just my own. Pretty much everything I bring to them relates to explosions and how to make even more powerful tools go boom. Anoka takes the information in, seeing that she had options here and that her fellow Uzumaki were quick to accept her no problem. They trusted her. She hadn't experienced that in a long time. A sly grin grows on her face as she keeps eye contact with the dashing blonde with a great body. Standing, she strikes a pose with a hand on her hip and the other holding up her hair. You know, once I've settled in, perhaps I can really help with clan rebuilding. What do you say? Winking at the teen whose eyes widen quickly. She misses Tayuya, throwing up her hands. Not even a full week. She's making a pass already. Ino grins, oh like you're really complaining. The more the merrier I say. Hinata shakes her head, as Karen tackles Anoka into the water with a laugh, leave it to Naruto. Ignoring it all as a wrestling match begins that drags the rest of the girls into it, Naruto, Koyuki, and Kotoheim all snuggle into each other. Time with family was always the best. Kotoheim is the first to lean into his ear again. Koyuki was right however, how about after everyone goes to bed, we spend some time in the bath? No complaints from me. Koyuki nods, better not be. Now relax, I'm kinda tired. They were the calm in the sea of chaos that was the rest of the family. All was normal for them. Ino however, was fondling the new girl who was blushing and laughing, this isn't fair. She's bigger than Hinata. Naruto sighed. Yes, they were the calm in the chaos. They had to be. Scene change, far to the east in a quiet and recently built base rests Orochimaru. Body transfer complete and healing, the Sannin was angrily plotting his next move. It would take some time, but he would be damned if he would let things slide as they had. No. Life had not been kind to him, but it was close to time to dish some of his pain back out. And he had a lead. Whispers and rumors along the normal citizens pointed towards Wave as the location of the Uzumaki brat. That meant he had a target. Naruto had been taking very valuable subjects from the snake summoner, and Orochimaru wanted him dead. Kabuto. Yes, Lord Orochimaru? The silent medical ninja hadn't been far, having been on call to care for and confirm that the transfer was successful. We have a lead on the Kyubi brat, correct? Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Good, I want him dead, as soon as possible. Is that wise, Lord Orochimaru? Orochimaru smirks and flicks a long tongue out from his lips, much as a snake would. Wise? Most likely not. It's risky, but killing him isn't truly the goal. I need some of his DNA. And I'm willing to sacrifice the Sound Four for such a task. They had become expendable. Under normal circumstances, Naruto would probably wipe them off the map instantly. Make sure they have complete instructions. Make sure any confrontation is in a well-populated area. He won't use his larger explosives within the village. The boy had skill and some talent, but that was in the realm of seals and explosives. 4 of his best should be able to subdue him under such a handicap. Kabuto nods, sound reasoning. Kill if able, return with DNA is a must. Orochimaru raises and inspects a hand. The tremors were beginning to fade at the least. Exactly. It's a shame. Kimimara's body most likely won't hold up past this mission, but it's a necessary sacrifice. You did well to extend his life. Kabuto accepted the praise easily enough, adjusting his glasses. I aim to please, Lord Orochimaru. Such a good apprentice. Task the Sound Four to this immediately, and make sure to impress upon them that returning with at least 1 vial of the Uzumaki's blood is paramount above all else. Kabuto nods and begins to back away. Of course, Lord Orochimaru. Secretly, Kabuto did not believe it would be as simple as that, but held his tongue. After nearly losing his life to the genin, Orochimaru had been in a foul mood when it came to Naruto. As the medic Nin left Orochimaru's chambers and began traversing the base hallways, Kabuto thought to himself a bit. It was coming time for him to really consider his next move. His life had been harsh. Harder than most, by a wide margin. So what did that mean for what he should do for himself in all of this? He had been used by everyone. Used by Danzo. Used by Orochimaru. Used by Sasori. Was there ever a time he couldn't remember being used by someone? Did he ever do something just for himself? Off of the top of his head he couldn't think of a time and was beginning to wonder if he was just destined to suffer forever. Walking a bit and attempting to clear his head, his mind then tracks to Naruto. The younger man had done everything within his own power to fight against fate. And it was working. Perhaps. Thought derailed as he came upon the Sound Force quarters. He'd need to shelve that particular thought for later. Walking in after flaring his chakra in a specific pattern, he was met with all of the Sound Four members, though short Tayuya. I have a task for you from Lord Orochimaru. You are to head for the country of Wave and hunt down Naruto Uzumaki. Your main goal is to take a blood sample, but if you can bring him in, that would be a major boon to us. Though killing him is allowed. Kimimaro nods quickly as he stands from his bed in the limited dorm room. If it is Lord Orochimaru's orders, we shall see it though. Around him, the rest of the group readies themselves appropriately while Kabuto mentally writes them off. Kabuto nods. I would accompany you on a mission such as this normally, but I have other business to attend to. Remember, gaining a sample of his blood is the most important part of the mission. Everything else is extra. It doesn't help that he knows these upstarts are going to fail and die. Perhaps afterwards he could have a chat of his own with Naruto in the near future. He had information on Danzo that Naruto would appreciate. That is, of course, if he can gain an audience with the powerful teen without dying right away. Turning away to walk the halls towards the base exit, the talented medic planned his own move. Scene change. Free from his desk to roam the city, Naruto is all smiles and happiness while flanked by Karen and Hinata. It always fills his heart with joy, taking in the busy streets and peaceful atmosphere. Idly, he watched several trolleys full of people coming in from one arm of the city and moving towards another. Everything was just so alive here. They all had in some way worked for this as well. It was still growing, rough in some places, but it was coming along and he would make sure none of his people were left behind. Hinata points out towards a pair of samurai golem walking the street in silence. So we've begun using them for everyday patrols then? Karen nods, yeah. It helps free up the Chinoike and Hataru for more intricate work. They're connected to the barrier observation room, much like the rest of my scanner golem and our chakra sensor seals. Wave has even started to use them. Hinata nods. An automated police force isn't a bad idea, though they can't talk to anyone. Shrugging, Karen doesn't see the issue. For us they mainly deal with rowdy drunks, not much talking needed for that. Our crime has been pretty low even with our population increase. Probably because everyone here is united in our goal. We want somewhere better, something different. Why screw that up by continuing the bullshit they put up with elsewhere? Naruto chimed in as they walked along towards what was becoming the restaurant district. It was close to lunchtime. How's Anoka settling in? Karen hums in thought for a moment. She seems to be getting along just fine. She's very good with seals, having picked things up in her time on the run. Her time with those researchers though really centered her knowledge around artificial summon creatures. Karen shuddered as she remembered some of the details Anoka gave her about that. We certainly won't be getting into that. Naruto sighs as he remembers having to destroy most of the volcano island where the research station had been. He had sent clones to revisit it, and not much was left. The lava having bubbled free and wreaking havoc on what was left. I do feel bad about having to kill it. He knew now it was necessary. That thing would have rampaged out of control. Hinata leans into him with a soft smile on her face. You know, you should take a break for a few days. The Mizukage should be arriving soon and you'll need to be well rested. You're right. Naruto reaches around to squeeze her around the waist. I'll take it easy, less clones, and no training until after the meeting. That was fine, he needed a break. Your idea of a break is mating with your women for hours at a time. Kurama's voice was quick to point out. I'm sorry, are you complaining? No, please, keep it up. It was just an observation. Pervert. Considering some of the things you do, you're the real pervert. I aim to please. Your perverted sensei would hug you if he heard you say that. Looking up, Naruto raises a hand to wave as they all see Tayuya leading a group of about a dozen children. Her face lights up in return, pointing directly at him and speaking to the children, though she is too far away to be heard. Hey Tayuya. Naruto misses Hinata and Karen, subtly edging away from him. Naruto turns to Karen, also, if I take a break, you need to take a break as well. The children are sprinting towards him now. Karen nods with a cheery smile on her face, fine. You take a break and I'll take a break. Some sun will probably do me some good. Adjusting her glasses a bit as she edges away from the oblivious teen even more. Naruto pumps a fist into the air, smiling as he celebrates a little win, great. We'll be lazy for a few days and wait for the Mizukage to show up. He only barely has his eyes open before he's swamped with children. The surprise allowing them to drag him down to the ground, much to everyone's amusement. The girls can't help but laugh at the squealing children, Tayuya joining them with her arms crossed. Hey y'all. Karen wipes a tear from her eye, why are you with so many kids? Tayuya shrugs, I offered to escort them all home. All the other teachers are busy at the moment. Frowning as she knew she created a golem specifically for this, she puts her hands on her hips. What happened to the golem the teachers requested? Hopefully they didn't break it. But she would have gotten a warning from the monitoring crew. Smirking and pointing at the children, Tayuya gave her odd news. The golem got so popular with the kids that they trapped it on school grounds. It's now their mascot. That the teachers couldn't figure out how the kids did it, or understand why the golem wouldn't leave, was odd to say the least. Why were the kids in so much love with a giant crab anyway? Weird kids. Karen can't do much but sigh heavily and realize kids would always find a way to break things. I'll just have to make a new one. Something the kids can't trap, maybe shaped like a trolley car. Mentally planning something out, she'd get to drawing tonight. Coming up for air, children hanging all over him, Naruto is still all smiles. I'm alive. Ignoring the laughs and jokes from passing by adults, Naruto slaps his hands together. Now you've done it though. Wind whipping around him, he uses his natural element and chakra to blast the children into the air gently, juggling them and twirling them around much to their giggles and cheers. Tayuya cocks one hip to the side, you drop one and you get to deal with the parents. Mama, you know I wouldn't do that. Warning received however, Naruto did eventually let all of the children down onto the ground, to much whining and requests for more. You have to listen to Tayuya-sensei. She means well. All of the children saluted him quickly, Hi Lord Uzumaki. Tayuya waves them along, smiling as she shakes her head, come on now you brats, let's get you all home. Hi. Naruto comes forward, laying a soft kiss on the normally brash woman's lips. She sputters for all of a second before accepting it with a smile. Flushed and happy, she waves and turns to leave with the children. I'll be seeing you later. Naruto waves goodbye with Hinata and Karen, sure will. And then they were gone around a corner, leaving the group of three on their own to continue their walk. Hinata however brings up a rumor she had heard. Supposedly there's a new ramen stand that just opened up. Hinata leans into mock whisper to Naruto, apparently the proprietress is from Konoha. Naruto's eyes widen and begin to shine. I am Nachan. Let's go, let's go. Grabbing both girls by their hands, they're soon dashing down the street and weaving through the crowds. No one was stopping him from getting ramen made by one of his favorite people. Not today. Scene change, within the dim office of his root base, Danzo is standing before a kneeling Sai. Sai had returned for his monthly report to the Elder Council member, though even being on Team 7, there wasn't much to report on. They didn't take many missions outside of the village, and when they did not use many special skills. Nor did they talk about Naruto or the Uzumaki much either. Sai could do nothing about it, however. Danzo can tell his ninja had concerns and waves them off, worry not. Things will be changing for your team soon. Reaching behind his desk, he offers a small scroll to Sai, who takes it and quickly stashes it away. That boy thought he was clever hiding such a weapon in such an obvious place. Keep that on you, one of the Uzumaki's bombs is sealed within. You mission for now, wait. Soon you will have a mission to visit the Uzumaki clan home. When you do, you are to detonate that bomb. Sai bows his head, this is necessary for the good of Konoha? Sai was loyal to Danzo, who had never steered him wrong. At least, from what he could remember. Danzo lets a small grin grace his face, it is my boy. The Uzumaki are a threat to the continued prosperity of Konoha. You will do this, won't you, Sai? He had been careful, making sure Sai had no seals on him, loyalty held through more traditional methods of indoctrination. I shall accomplish this, Lord Danzo. Danzo nods and waves the boy away, go back to your duties, you are free to relax for now. Remember, the time is coming. Watching the boy vanish in a shunshin, Danzo relaxes a bit and lets his mind wander. Konoha, and by extension, he had put up with Naruto's stubbornness long enough. If Orochimaru couldn't do the decent thing and kill the boy, Danzo would get it done himself. Not far away in a secluded clan home, Sasuke is training while Sakura watches on and Kakashi gives pointers from the porch. Covered in sweat and body aching, Sasuke finally relents and stands tall, wiping the sweat from his brow. In his right hand, he twirled his new Chikuto with a flourish before sheathing it at his hip, much to Sakura's teasing. So Naruto got a sword, so you had to get one too? Sasuke sighed and shook his head, I need something with a little more reach, that's all. Right. Sakura went back to her book as she muttered under her breath, boys and their toys. Kakashi, however, just smiles and shakes his head, you've been improving quickly, Sasuke. Though I think you might have been pushing yourself rather hard. You might want to consider taking a break. Sasuke shook his head, I don't want to fall behind. Elemental training, sword training, and physical training have to be done every day if I want a chance of keeping pace with Naruto. They were still rivals after all, and more, Sasuke still have to have his reckoning with Itachi. He'd like to be able to take his brother all on his own, but it might not be possible. Besides, if I can't take you on yet, I haven't trained enough. Chuckling, Kakashi shook his head at the absurd thought, you're a decade early to be considering beating me, I think. Though if Kakashi was honest, that might not be true. His students were improving quickly, much faster than any of the other rookies. They had a motivation that was nearly unmatched. Naruto would sure be getting a surprise the next time they all had a chance to spar together. Besides, you're going to have to relax for a few days, we have a mission coming up. That got the genin's attention. Sakura even putting her book away, what's that, sensei? She shifted a bit to the side as Sasuke came and sat next to her, offering him a bit more room. 2 things. First, the next Chunin exam is coming up, think you'll want to attend with Sai? Sasuke mulled over that for a moment, I mean, we have to take it as a 3-man cell, so we'd have to. Sakura nodded at that, even if he's a little weird, and not completely trustworthy. Sakura remembered the warning from Naruto that Sai might be one of Danzo's. It would suck if he was, but they would continue to treat him as normal for now. Kakashi considered them for a moment before waving it away mentally, well, think on it, you have a few months yet. More important, we do have a mission. Escort. To wave. That excited both of them instantly, Sakura being very vocal about it, woo. We finally get to go. We'll have to ditch Sai somehow though, we can't take him to Uzushio proper. That just screams bad news. Sasuke was quick to be the realist about this. Which Kakashi applauded mentally and smiled. That's correct, which is why this will be a joint mission between all of the rookie teams. We shall be escorting Temari of the Sand. With some luck, we may be able to convince one of the other teams to help out with him. Kakashi was like the others, wanting to give Sai the benefit of the doubt. However, Danzo was involved, which meant anything could happen, and usually nothing good. It'll be in a few days, so keep that in mind. Realizing that meant he didn't have a choice and he wouldn't be able to train heavily, Sasuke realized he had been cornered. Fine, I get it. I'll relax. Here he turned his gaze to Sakura. Wanna grab lunch in the morning? My treat. The rapid head nodding and star-filled eyes told him enough about what she thought of his idea. That was Kakashi's cue to leave, standing and stretching with an exaggerated groan. You take care now, my cute students. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Sakura giggled and pointed at their senshi. That gives us a lot of options if Shizen's limp the other day is a clue. Grateful that they couldn't see his blush, Kakashi saluted them and vanished in a swirl of leaves. Shizen would be rather cross with him if he took too long coming back home to his apartment. Left behind, Sakura leaned into Sasuke comfortably. You know, it's still pretty early. Sasuke nodded, it is. And I don't have to go home right away. True. Sue, have any ideas of what we could do tonight? Train? The fist that slugged him in the arm was hard and nearly broke said arm. He guessed his joke wasn't well received. Keep each other up all night? That's more like it. You're so violent. I like to call it strong-willed. It's domestic abuse. We're ninja, no such thing. Leaning over, her lips, we soft against his own. Come, let's head inside. Sasuke nodded dumbly as she dragged him by the hand. Yes, ma'am. He wouldn't be complaining, at least until it was time to get up in the morning. He still hated mornings. Omake, Irika, Asuma, and Kakashi were learning one fairly important lesson when it came to being friends and having significant others that were also friends. And it wasn't that certain things shouldn't be brought up or said, or to never forget anniversaries. No, there was always just one more danger that they had thought they might be free of due to their ninja duties. Which today they were fine or they were not. Anko grinned, holding up a rather revealing bikini to the other girls, smirking and striking a pose. Think this would work out? Being her friend the longest and more used to her antics, Kurenai just rolled her eyes. Maybe for getting you put on a list, go find something more appropriate. Maybe this one is just for Irika, you know, spice things up. Her grin never left her face, though Anko was now shifting through sexy poses in the middle of the clothing shop. Shizen was blushing but smiling along. All the same, I do think that's a little risky. Even for Anko, that was outrageous. It was just string, the fabric available wouldn't cover anything at all. Was there such a thing as a clit hammock? 'Cause that's all it would probably cover. Chuckling and putting it back, Anko just shook her head and went about rifling through more selections. Oh, spoil sports. She pointed directly at Shizen. I think you need to take a lesson from me and try something a little more daring instead. Put that one piece away. That Shizen was in fact pulled a cute blue and white one piece from the rack had her a bit embarrassed. I'm daring. I can be daring. Kurenai shook her head. No, don't engage her. She'll suck you into her lunacy. Anko however powered through, bouncing to Shizen's side and slinging an arm over her shoulder. This way, little Miss Beach Girl, let's go find you the perfect number to drive all the boys and girls crazy. Wait, I dashed, tossed into a changing room. Anko already has several selections arcing over the top of the door. Anko. Change. Watching it all three men sit together on a bench and wait it out. Sure, it would be an amazing view one day, but right now, the wait was torture. At least, until someone had a rather smart though. When are we supposed to see any of them in bikinis in the first place? Irika pointed out. All of them were workaholics who never took rest days. Granted, he knew Anko would simply wear hers around the house just because. Something he would never complain about. Though he would like his flak jacket back one day. That of course reminded him of the time she greeted him at the door in nothing but his flak jacket and a smile. That had been a busy night. Asuma shrugged. Maybe this is them saying they want us to take some time off first? Kakashi, however, had some insider information. I have it on good authority that there's an island nation we're building good relations with. Imagine. A warm beach, a few days off. He and Shizen had been much more stable recently. This had also led to less time for his books, not that he needed them with her around. You do have a point. Asuma nodded at that. They all three looked up at a commotion to see Anko ripping Shizen out of her changing room to stand in front of a mirror. The normally meek woman was standing there in a black and silver two-piece, the bottom's more of a thong cut while the top might as well be mostly string and enough fabric to legally cover her breasts. Kakashi was realizing that under her normal yukata she had all of the womanly curves he could ask for in a woman. He didn't know why the bathing suit accentuated it so much. But it did. He was never opening Jiraiya's book again. Anko was pointing towards the frozen Kakashi. See, he likes it. Insta-buy. Shizen, while blushing, could see that she indeed had a reaction out of the normally stoic Kakashi. Huh. Taking a breath and putting her hands on her hips to shift her weight, she rather enjoyed the way Kakashi's eyes were locked onto her. You're right, Anko, insta-buy. A quick shake and watching his visible eyes shake with her sent her giggling. That a girl? Iruka was leaning over and waving a hand in front of the other ninja's face. Think we lost him? Asuma nodded. Oh, he's long gone. It was the man's code that Iruka and Asuma were flatly ignoring Shizune as she made a few other poses before returning to her changing room. It just wasn't done after all. Kurenai just sighed. You're going to corrupt her and she's going to end up like you. Anko shrugged. What's the worst that can happen? I'm awesome. Even bagged me a hunky future husband. Iruka faltered and sent Asuma chortling. Woo boy Iruka, you've really been putting in the work, haven't you? Iruka felt sweat traveling down his back, perhaps a bit too well. Asuma looked back towards Kakashi. Was he turning blue? Kakashi breath man. Breath. He shook the other ninja, who promptly fell out of his seat. Kakashi. Iruka turned to help, man down. Inside her changing room, Shizune stood naked as she considered her next option. That string set Anko had picked out suddenly didn't sound so far-fetched. She wondered if maybe she could wear it around the house at least.